This episode of the Empty Netters podcast is brought to you by my favorite light beer on earth, LABATT Blue Light. You guys know that there is Canadian kindness in every sip. You know it's a crisp Canadian Pilsner. And I've told you over and over, but you're not listening, that it is my favorite light beer to consume. When we're watching playoff hockey, boom, LABATT Blue Light. When I'm doing a live show on TikTok, boom, LABATT Blue Light. When I'm hanging with the boys at the beach because it's LA and it's getting nice again, boom, LABATT Blue Light. I'm telling you, give it a shot. You will never look back. They're sponsoring our pod. They should be sponsoring your life. So go get some right now.
On this episode of the Empty Netters podcast, bad news for the Stars because Nate, Dogg, and Cale woke up.
We've got more goalie interference drama.
The Oilers aren't going home that easy. Evan Bouchard is a buzzer-beating hero.
And we've got a Game 6 bonanza this week.
Ice is ready, and we are back with another episode of the Empty Netters podcast. It is extending.
It's extending. And it's extending.
It's extending. It's like taffy. It's like silly putty.
I was thinking more like...
It's like Slinky the dog from Toy Story.
The playoffs took a Viagra.
Do you think Slink is one of the greatest? Nice.
The playoffs...
I want to take a second and acknowledge that.
The playoffs took a Viagra.
Playoffs
took a Viagra.
No, that's it. That's it. Do you think Slinky the Dog's one of the best side characters in animated movie history or in movie history?
Movie history for sure, but we should do a dog ranking.
Right
movie.
now?
No. I'm just saying we should do a movie.
Let's just some of the ones that come to the top of the head.
Shadow.
Doug from Up.
Oh, I was like, that's not his dog. But doesn't Doug Funny have a dog?
Yeah. Pork Chop.
Pork Chop.
But that's a TV show. Doesn't count.
Oh.
You said movie.
Okay, Slinky.
Okay. Milo, The Mask.
Marley. And me.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay, that's enough.
Sam, I Am Legend.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, we gotta stop. Good, a lot of good dogs out
Great dogs. Good boy.
And here's the crazy paradox. All dogs are good dogs.
Yeah. So we could have named every one of them.
We could have named literally every movie dog ever. And we would have been fine.
Yeah, you're right.
A lot of elimination games. No one wanted to take care of business.
No, it's not taking care of business season. It's summertime.
Not. Rangers, let those pesky Canes hang around. Panthers, let those scrappy Bees hang around. And then the Stars made a huge mistake.
Yeah, that's actually not good. No.
They have done, we talked so much about the coaching and the adjustments.
Yep.
And the Stars just get so many stick taps. And they've done one thing very, very well. It's that they've really stifled Nate, Cale, and Moose. And Nate and Cale woke up in a big way.
Yeah.
Game 5. In a big way.
Yeah. And Nate was on to something.
He's just so good.
The
Val news clearly shell-shocked them in Game 4.
Yep.
And then they came back in Game 5 here, and they were like this, okay, we got to... It's truly like Cale and Nate went like this. It's up to us, dude.
Yeah.
And they both just had multi-point nights.
Yep.
Got a huge win.
They just look scary out there. We'll get into that series.
We will.
First thing we got to do for the Friday ep is we got to do our power ranking.
Yeah.
Top
Friday
5.
episode, power ranking, top 5 teams in the playoffs.
And this is the first one that's actually very hard, in my opinion.
I completely agree. I feel like these teams are all kind of bundled up.
The teams who it's almost easier to try to figure out the 3 that aren't in it.
It is.
And I think for me, Dan...
I feel like this fan base is starting to hate us.
Yep.
It's Oilers for me.
Oilers?
Oilers are 8 for me.
Oh, okay. Oilers 8. I'm not even going to fight you on that, really. But I think it's either Bees... The Oilers, Canucks, and the Bruins are the 3 that are out for me.
Yeah, okay. I feel like that's tough on the Canucks.
It is, but... They're 2-2 with the team that you think is 8. You know, like they.
I know. I just are. You're putting the Canes in, like the Canes got 2.
They've won.
Wins.
No, dude, they're not lucky
Canes
wins.
2 lucky wins.
That's
they don't
ridiculous.
even belong in the same.
That's the
ring as
money
Rangers.
talking.
They don't even belong in the same city as my Rangers.
They've been They were the better team in some of their losses. They were great in Game 5. Great.
They were fantastic.
And that was a good win in Game 4.
Truly fantastic.
Yeah. So I'm like, and we had the Rags an easy one. So I'm like, the Canes are in for sure.
Okay.
It's Canucks and Avs. It's me, Oilers 8, Bruins 7. And Avs.
So much hate for the Bees.
Avs. Well, no, it's just respect for the other teams. Yeah.
And like we said, all 8 of these teams are so
very jumbled. Very jumbled. This is a not extend. This is a jumble.
I want to go out, regardless of that last game, I think I want to go out and say I'm putting Dallas at 1. I think Dallas is my 1.
Okay. I wish that had been. Actually, they pulled it back to 4-3. Yeah. Okay.
They got a 3-2 lead.
Okay.
Yeah, they
Dallas
pulled it
won.
4-3. Like they've got it. They're scoring goals in every game.
Yep.
Tip drills on the board.
Yeah, that was great.
That was a huge statement win from Colorado. But
Yep.
I do just think Dallas they look the scariest right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think I like Dallas at 1.
Okay. Dallas won. Then I'm thinking, dude, it's tough because it's a similar situation with the Panthers where they just lost, but they looked dominant. Like they lost that game 1 to the Bees and then slapped us in game 2, slapped us in game 3, and then game 4, that comeback with the goalie int and whatever.
Florida,
But like
New York for me next. One of the two.
Okay. Then I think Florida, because that was a good game too that they lost. Just sway God went sway God.
Exactly.
So yeah, okay. I actually might even go them 1. Now that I'm saying it.
I don't hate that. I just think
think Dallas
has looked
yeah.
scarier.
Dallas 1, Florida 2.
Yeah. Okay. So Dallas 1, Florida 2, New York 3. No question.
Still over the Canes.
My God, dude.
Still with this shit.
Canes had a great game.
Still with this shit, dude.
Canes had a great game 5, but I still think no question about my Rangers.
Dallas, Panthers, Rangers.
Canes, and then
what about we're talking Avs, Canucks.
I cannot
you're
I
right.
cannot put the Avs above Vancouver. I don't think.
Me neither.
Which is crazy.
Dallas, Florida, Rags,
Rangers,
Canes, Avs,
Nucks,
Bees, Oilers.
The Nucks are out.
I don't think they have to be. I think they have
Canes
to.
have played well. The Canes have played really well.
Just winning 2 in a row against the Rangers is something. That matters to me.
I like that.
Dallas, Florida, Rags, Canes, Avs.
Done
Done deal.
Rankings done.
Okay.
I like it.
And that's gonna all change tonight. We're recording on Thursday.
Yeah.
Chaos will happen
What's awful
tonight.
is you guys are going to listen to this Friday morning, and that all might be mixed up.
Yep. And if the Canes have won again,
give me a bye-bye. Bye-bye, Carolina. Bye-bye. See ya. Enjoy golfing.
Yep.
Let's move on and get into our Bauer Hockey Hot Ice. Squad, I want to take a second to talk to you about Bauer Hockey. You all know that name because it's been the best name in hockey for almost 100 years now. Bauer is always taking care of us from head to toe with the best gear in the game and making sure they're elevating your training levels to the highest possible quality. So you're going to go to Bauer.com/training and make sure that you let Bauer take care of your needs. Whether you're just getting started right now, a beer leaguer, in college, in junior, whatever it is, Bauer's going to take your game to the next level. They got the digital reactor dangler and the reactor slide board. These things are going to make sure your skating and your puck handling go to the stratosphere. Bauer is a huge name in hockey for a reason, folks. It is the top of the line across the board. You're going to use promo code EMPTY, EMPTY, at checkout when you get all this training gear, and you're going to save on all of your shipping. Bauer Hockey is the best in the game for a reason. Make sure you join in. Great news. Great stuff. Talk to me.
The first thing I want to say is that I think has been so interesting and longtime sports fans. Good evening, sports fans. I went into a real announcer shit there, but sports fans, longtime sports fans, especially in the States, who are of our generation, will remember Bill Simmons, the writer. Not Bill Simmons, the HBO TV personality or the podcast guy. Bill Simmons, early days sports guy, ESPN. And he developed a theory called the Ewing theory, named after Pat Ewing. And it was the Knicks. Pat Ewing was the best player on the Knicks by a mile. But then when he would get hurt and not play, the Knicks would do better because everybody on the team was like, dude, we need to step up. This has to be our A game from everybody. The other team's sleeping on us. We're going to fucking show them. They think we're out without Pat. Let's rise up. We don't have to just do our job and rely on Pat. We got to rise up. I have never seen a Ewing theory playoff in hockey like the one we're experiencing. The Leafs lose Matthews and they win every fucking, and Nylander win fucking 3 of the 4 games.
Yeah.
Bees lose Brad Marchand, played their 2 best games of the season. I guess game 1, but that whatever. But like the last 2 games without Brad.
Yeah.
Brutal like last minute loss and then a beat down in Florida. Avs Val goes out, boom, pummel Dallas. I don't know what is happening, but Vancouver loses Demko. We are in a full Ewing theory universe so far in these playoffs.
We are. There's been a astounding amount of star players missing from games these playoffs. And you're right, teams are elevating because of it.
Just something to think about. Maybe teams should start sitting down, guys. I think the Bees sit down pasta game 6.
I just think Edmonton.
Sit down, Connor.
You want to get through these series.
Sit him down.
Like that? Shut Connor down, dude. Shut him down.
Help the team, dude.
There's only one puck, dude, and that guy's a fucking puck hog. Sit him down.
Do you care about the team or not?
Imagine if Edmonton was like this. We're going to shut Connor down. We think we just need to buckle down, focus on the rest of our game.
Skinner's back, Connor's
get the
out.
other guys going.
Yeah.
Connor, you're out.
All right, let's start in Boston, Dan. The Bruins force a game 6. Let's start with the goalie interference call that wasn't.
Bruins get one back, if you will. In Game 5, there's a play where Charlie McAvoy scores what would be the game-winning goal. And
Off a beautiful play and a great pass from Coyle.
Oh, my gosh, just gorgeous.
Yep.
Paul Maurice and the Panthers challenge it.
Yep.
And it is or the call on the ice stands. It's a good goal. The take. Listen, I had a take after the game, and I think this is the mature. Let's move on take.
Yep.
Panthers, you got one. Bruins, you got one. Now everyone shut the fuck up about the goalie interference calls. The series is 3-2 Panthers. Let's go into Boston and handle Game 6. What I will take a second and talk about is these plays are not close at all. Not even.
Yeah.
Not even in the same stratosphere.
In terms of level of goalie int.
The Florida goalie interference was like talked about around the league, and I'm not going to name names here, but I'm just letting you listeners know. Massive people in the NHL have talked to us and been like, "Yeah, that was
atrocious."
They were like, "That was the craziest
miscarriage of justice."
They were just like, "That was the craziest not reversal I've ever seen."
Yeah,
like that was ridiculous. My take on the McAvoy goal was, if they overturned it, I would not have lost my mind. I would have gone, I disagree with that.
Yeah. See,
I disagree with it, but like, okay. Whereas I think it was the right call. Like, Heinen makes contact with Bob. Bob has plenty of time to reset, which he does. The overhead angle, you see him clearly reset and front the shot. Then him losing his stick, I don't want to go more into the Panthers flopping around on the ice, but like Bob loses his stick a lot.
Yeah.
I think he didn't necessarily need to lose that stick. I think he felt contact from Heinen and was like, I might embellish this a little bit. The stick goes, but OEL is just as at fault for that stick coming out.
I think Ekman-Larsson hits the stick.
I agree.
But I will say, I don't know that Bob knows that. I think there are guys there, someone hits his stick. I don't even think he dropped it to drop it. I think his stick got hit out of his hand straight up. That's what I believe. But I believe it was Ekman-Larsson, and Bob just didn't know that, which is why he's flailing.
Yeah.
And also, unfortunately for him, because I'm a slightly on the other side than you, that I think I'm calling that, if I'm Toronto, I overturn it. That's my ruling. Because, and unfortunately for Bob, he's screaming about the stick because I think he didn't know.
Yeah.
But for me, Heinen's stick is against Bob's skate in the crease. He starts at top of the crease. Hyman kind of gets pushed into him, so you got a little gray area there. But in my opinion, Hyman's stick is on Bob's right skate in the crease. And he resets, but for me, dude, and again, I don't know the rule.
You're talking about before the shot, because when the shot comes, he's not touching him.
Agree, but for me, this is what I was about to say. If it's like this, my skate gets pushed, then I reset, and then the shot goes in, I am still like, you can't be touching the goalie right before a shot either. And that's just my ruling. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm not saying I even know the correct interpretation. I'm just saying you can't touch the goalie. You can't touch the goalie if he's distracted at all within like a 1 Mississippi and then the shot.
Protect our goalies.
Protect our goalies. I've been saying it for a year.
You've been saying it for a long time. Protect our goalies.
So that I overturned that one, but I couldn't agree more. And I've even had a text from a few Panthers fans. Shout out Dan, shout out Nez. We're even. We're good.
Yeah, but that's easy to say because they're like this. We got away with one, and that one was kind of 50-50.
Okay, but I think it wasn't.
I've got a lot of messages from Panthers fans that were like, that was a good goal, which I really appreciate. They're saying like, they're like, we're not even like that should have stood.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying with the protect our goalies thing. I think where I disagree is, I think if you're like, you can't touch the goalie ever, and there's that 1 to 2 second buffer, we would have a lot of goals called back. A lot of.
I agree, but I'm okay with that, and I don't want like more whistles and more
That's
bullshit.
what you're asking for.
But then learn, like, this is what we always say though. You need to establish a rule so people stop doing shit, and it's kind of happening with going in early on the offside. With now that people can challenge it, players do that less because I'm like, don't go offside, dude. I'm like, don't. And I know you got to get to the dirty areas. Don't hit the goalie in the crease,
dude.
Don't hit the goalie in the crease.
I think you'd be shocked how much that would change the game.
In a good way for me. Don't hit the goalie in the crease. Like,
but it's not like you're not hitting the goalie. You're just touching them. Like Heinen touched Bob.
Yeah.
Like you're acting like he pushed with his stick. His stick is literally barely touching him. It's not barely touching. You know what I mean? Like it's the blade of his stick. He's not sitting there javelining him.
Yeah.
He's just like he's trying to get a tip on.
He's trying to turn. Trying to get position.
I just think it's a dangerous game to be like, like that contact is really making. And dude,
maybe you're right.
He resets. Like I don't know what the fuck we're talking about here. He resets, and the shot goes in the other side.
Yeah,
it goes in the side that Heinen would technically be pushed. Heinen's helping them.
Yeah. No, maybe you're right, because I don't want it to be every fucking goal is overturned because someone touched a goalie here and there. And the goalies are so far out of the crease. Well, actually, you can't be protected out. If you're out of the crease, then do whatever you want. I can fucking trip you if I want.
That's my only fear. My only fear is there just would be too much going on.
Yeah. I got to think about that more, but I do think I do not like the take of the reset. Like, I'm like, dude, if the goalie gets bumped in the crease, and then the shot goes, I am like 100% no goal, and I will die on that hill.
I don't want to take any more time on this, but why not? The resetting, which he clearly does, to me is the most obvious physical evidence of like, okay, I'm back.
Yeah, we can't spend airtime and to go into what I'm explaining here, but it's like there's that timer on it, and for me, the Bob one was so clearly under. Like he is impacted by that still. Whereas if I get bumped, like if someone knocked the goalie over. He stands up. It goes D to D. He turns this way. I'm like, yeah, of course. You've gotten up.
You need them to have time to like someone read them a story.
Yes, like for real. I need him to go like this. Sing the national anthem.
Whistle.
Yeah. Now you may shoot.
And then have a therapist come out and be like this. Are you good?
Yeah. Yes. That is actually what I want.
Yes.
Actually, we should have the goal light guy.
I get that.
And then we should have a stopwatch guy for every time Bob gets bumped. A shot clock appears.
Yeah, and you can't
shoot.
And
it's like, yeah.
The goalie's touched and a blue light goes on, and the goalie needs to turn around and go like this. Okay, I'm fine now.
Yep. Yeah. Just spotter. Let's have a concussion spotter, a goalie to protect our goalie spotter, and a shot clock. Oh. And now I'm happy.
Dude, your protect our goalies takes are getting out of control.
I love them. I love a goalie.
And I love that about you. But this is crazy.
Are you scared if you're the Panthers, or are you like this, whatever, we're going to go pummel you in Boston?
No, I don't think I'm thinking that. I also don't think I'm scared. I think they go, this is a great series. This was always going to be a great series. I think if you lose tonight, do they play tonight?
No, tomorrow.
They lose tomorrow. I think people start the chit-chat of, oof, like you got they blew a 3-1 lead last year. Are we going to blow a 3-1 lead this year? And then maybe some nerves going. But right now you go.
You don't think it's bigger than that? I think if they lose tomorrow, they're like, fuck. I think they win in Game 6. But I think if they lose, they're like, oh, fuck.
Oh, yeah. I'll agree.
Yeah.
I was trying to get more to it's tomorrow night. Like, I think right now they're like, they're great. It's a great team, dude.
Yeah.
Like, it's, oh my God, it went to Game 6. They won it. Holy shit. I don't think they're freaking out yet. If they lose tomorrow, I think that chit chat of they blew it, now you're about to blow it, definitely gets in their head. And I think what's added to it is like this Panthers fan narrative of like Boston fans are always crying because of that goalie interference call, which we can all agree was absurd.
Yep.
I think that now gets flipped, and it's like, you guys have been talking so much
Yep.
shit, and now you might fucking collapse. And yeah, I think it's going to get very ugly.
Yeah, they don't want that at all. I expect a massive
If
game.
that goes Game 7, that's going to be a diabolical Game 7. Not to mention with the Brad Marchand comments that came out today.
I know.
Of him being like, we're trying to hurt each other.
Yeah.
I was surprised he said that.
Me too, but I actually don't think he's wrong. And I feel like if people interpreted it like I'm trying to cheap shot anybody any chance I get, break their ankle, do whatever. I think he more meant I'm trying to drill someone open ice cleanly, and I hope I fucking break, like, well, I don't mean this again because Matthew Tkachuk's got his sternum broken and that was horrible, but I think he more meant like I hope I break Matt's sternum because I drill him open ice. Exactly.
Yeah, with a clean hit. And then there was a comment. We should pull that comment from that video. But someone's like, Brad Marchand tries to hurt someone and then gets hurt, and I'm like, Brad Marchand tried to hit someone and then Sam Bennett sucker punched him in the face.
Yeah.
There's a big difference, folks.
Okay. Any more on that?
No, let's talk about the Rangers.
Another potentially diabolical Game 7. What's on the line tonight,
Are the
Dan?
Rangers feeling the heat?
And the game's tonight for everybody. We are recording. You're going to hear this tomorrow. We're recording before the Rags Game 6.
When I did Hockey Talk Sunday, there was a few messages that were like, is it all falling apart for New York? And I laughed. In people's faces. I was like, guys, it's one game. Calm down. Now it's 2 games, and the best game the Canes have played. I think this is a situation where it's easy to clown on Rod last year.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, I don't think that was a sweep when they got swept. But multiple games went to overtime. It was a crazy close series. We are now seeing evidence of here with this going to Game 6 of these games have been very close.
Yep.
And now the tide is starting to turn towards Carolina, where they're going, these games have been close, and now we're getting the bounces and we're winning. And Game 5, Carolina won the most emphatic game of the series so far.
After giving up another shorty.
I think the Rangers aren't feeling the heat, but I think the Rangers fans are feeling the heat. And we all know that the Rangers fans are a very emotional bunch, and they're already losing their minds. Like, it's Game 6. Like, our Johnny Liles shout out was like, Game 6 is going to be painful the whole time. Unless they win fucking 6-0.
Yeah.
So I think that the fan base is absolutely losing their shit right now. And it's because they care.
Of course, as they should. Because the Rangers believe, as they should, that they can win in Carolina, and they certainly believe that if it goes Game 7, they can win Game 7 at MSG. But I would love to know how everyone on that roster really feels right now.
Yeah.
Because publicly, of course, they're going to, and I'm sure talking to themselves in the mirror when they get out of the shower, they're going, we got this.
Yeah.
We're fine. 2 chances to beat them with 1 at home. We fine. But I would love to know how they really feel.
Yeah.
Because Carolina, to their own fault, has been Jekyll and Hyde on the road and at home in the playoffs the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So now you're walking into Carolina where they are a much stronger team. And if they get this one, that is just nightmare fuel. I absolutely hate going home. And again, they believe they can win at Game 7 at MSG, but I would not want to come back at all.
No, me neither. And you think about the Momo, it's 3 wins for New York, and I was like, you're dead, Carolina.
Yep.
And then they got that one in Game 4, and if they win this one, that's 3 wins for Carolina.
Yeah.
And New York fans, you know how it felt going into Game 4.
Oh, dude.
That's going to be how Carolina feels going into Game 7, because they're like, listen, if we lose, we kind of did our job. Like, you're the higher seed.
Yep.
You were the better team all season long. And you won 3 straight, and now we've battled back. Like, if they lose Game 7, people go, amazing job, Carolina, fighting back and making this go to Game 7. If the Rangers lose Game 7, you are now in the history books.
Because I think you said, you might have said Rags in 5. Do you remember?
I did say Rags.
I said Rags in 7. So I said in our saucy prediction last step, I think the Canes are going to force Game 7 and then lose that game. So I'm still on the Rags in 7, exactly like I said.
Yeah.
It's just, what is it, 4 teams ever? And it happened to the Bees once. So but like it sucks in a big way.
Terrible
and Dan,
category to be in.
it blows because playoffs are so fucking crazy, dude. Because if the Rags had lost Game 4 to the Caps, it's like, whatever, dude. we are going to win in 5 or 6 or 7. It doesn't matter at all. But when you're playing a team, and I know Rangers fans don't want to hear this, but I've been saying I think the Canes are good. That's a really tough matchup. I think the Rags are a little bit better, but that's a really hard matchup.
Great teams.
So it's when you're playing great teams in the playoffs, it is so insane how hard you just have to step on throats. You're in that game 4 and it's 3-3. It's 3-3 in the third period.
Like the only thing you have to do.
I'm like, dude, if you lose this game, and I remember Laz was like in his pod after the game 4, he was like, just please fucking win game 5. And like the urgency in his voice, you kind of want to be like, what are you talking about, Laz? But I felt him. I was like, you're right. You better win fucking game 5 because then you're back in Carolina game 6. And if you lose that game, you're going to fucking shoot yourself.
No question about it, dude. It's, it happened to Boston last year.
Yep.
It's brutal.
And by the way, all the Avs, or excuse me, the Rags, well, the Stars too, but the Rags and the Panthers, because we've been talking about them, they could just so easily win game 6. They're both game 6s on the road and be like,
yeah,
didn't matter at all.
Yeah.
But right now, you're sweating.
Yeah.
You're sweating.
All I'll say is my cockroaches got this tonight.
Yep.
This is a situation where you've stomped on the cockroach and you think it's dead, and then all of a sudden the legs start moving and it skitters under the oven.
Yeah.
That's what's going on. Rangers are fine. They're gonna win this game. This is a good scare for them.
Yep.
They're gonna have to
Needed it.
recover.
Need some adversity. How many times have I been saying that?
Hurricanes, good job, buddy. Good job, bub.
Yeah.
Little bub.
Yeah.
Give a little head tap. You got a couple wins. I'm proud of you, but Rangers are winning game 6. No question about it. What do you think is going on in the Oilers' heads right now?
Oilers, I think probably, talk about stepping on throats, Dan. The Canucks, and maybe I am still disrespecting the Canucks, as I feel like everybody has been doing. The Canucks pull off that game. Well, here's my journey with Vancouver. The Canucks go down 4-1 in game 1, and I was like, you are exactly what I thought you were. The Oilers are going to win. I said Oilers, and we both said Oilers in 6. I should have said Oilers in 5, maybe 4. This is over. And then the Oilers, in my opinion, fall asleep at the switch. Canucks come back and win that game. And I was like, what a clown show. Now it's Oilers in 5 because you've angered them and whatever. Game 2, Oilers win on the road. And it's easy to forget that the Canucks are the high seed there.
Yeah, totally.
So the Oilers could have lost both and been like, whatever, we haven't lost at home yet. But anyway, they steal one on the road. But and the Oilers want to win that game by 20. They win it in overtime. And that actually made me, even though the Canucks lost at home, and I should have been, if you're a Canucks fan, you should have been freaking, I was like, dude, you actually are very in this series. Like you are, and they wasn't that a regular season sweep? Do you remember in the preview?
Yes, I believe
I think the Canucks dusted them off. Yeah. So I was like, hell, dude, this actually might be okay. And then they fucking win game 3 in Edmonton and then tie game 4 late. And I was like, dude, if they steal this game in overtime, they're going to fucking do it.
Yeah.
They're going to do it. But then, because playoffs are fucking insane, Evan Bouchard with 20 fucking seconds left or whatever, and I literally was like, you're now dead, Vancouver.
29 seconds.
Because you didn't step on a fucking throat when it was your fucking boot was on it.
I know.
And that's a little harsh because it was only tied. They weren't winning that game. But my God, dude. And they got best of 3 with 2 at home. But I just still feel like this Oilers team has too much firepower for you that you needed that 3-1 lead.
I love all that. I am starting to feel confident about Vancouver because, one, we have a 4-game sample size, and they've either won or been very in every single game.
Yep.
And so is Edmonton.
Yeah.
That said, without Edmonton's power play, and obviously they're going to get power plays, but without Edmonton's power play, they are so fucked in this series, in my opinion.
The Oilers are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like they are so reliant on scoring on that power play. And if Talk can whip these boys into shape and be like, stop fucking taking stupid penalties, idiots, I really think they have the upper hand. Connor and Leon are always going to do what they do. Bouchard has become a part of that 3-headed dragon, and he's going to help and do what they do. So you cannot look at this team and be like, oh, this is easy. I think the goalie situation is crazy. Like, Pickard wins, you have to start him again. And I think if you're Talk and you're looking at the team, you're like, guys, we had a good goalie situation. Like, She Loves, in my opinion, whether this is going to lead over into next season or not.
Yep.
She Loves is clearly playing well.
And are we able to say that was one so far of what we were talking about last step? Like we needed She Love to have 2 more good ones to be like, this is my net now.
Yes.
I count that one.
That was
He's got the fucking poke check at the blue line against Kane. I was like, this is his net, dude.
Yes.
This is his net.
Like, he's dialed. And I think you look at the situation, if you're looking at those boys, you go, we have the upper hand in net. We didn't think we did, but we clearly do. So take care of business. One thing that I hated, and I hate to call someone out here because I love him. I hated that Elias Pettersson interview where he got asked about his gameplay. And he just like looked so defeated, and he was like, yeah, good question. Like, they were like, what do you think is going on in your game? What do you need to do to get back to the level you were playing at all season long? And he just kind of shrugged and was like, yeah, good question. He's not that type of guy that's going to motherfuck someone.
Yep.
He's not the type of guy that's going to be very outspoken and vocal and oppressor or anything like that. So I'm not asking him to do that. And I bet internally he's going, I just want to get out of here.
Yeah.
But I didn't like it.
What if he had gone like this? What if he had gone, I got to get more pucks to the net, put myself in the right areas, and it'll work out. Like, what if he'd said a kind of bunch of cocky cliches?
I would have liked that more.
Really?
Because it would have been more of a, like, fuck you, I'm not giving you the time of day.
Yeah.
Well, in my opinion, that cliche says, I know what I have to fucking do.
Yeah.
And I think that's what he's
That's
trying
kind of
to
how I
being
took
like,
his
good
thing.
question,
Yeah.
dude.
I wish he hadn't been so Eeyore, but I think if he had gone like this, good question, I would have been like, great.
I would have loved that.
Yeah.
It was the Eeyore thing that I'm like, Petey, come on, dude.
Yep.
You're one of the best players in this league. If he gets going, it is curtains for the Oilers. Curtains. And that's a big difference from Joey Tipdrill in Dallas gets a goal. Pavelski getting going isn't going to dead Colorado, but that's going to be big help. It's a big help. Elias Pettersson, arguably your best player. If he gets going, that's like the series is 2-2, and Vancouver's best player, their best point scorer, isn't going.
Yeah.
Give me a break, dude.
Yep.
So I want some fire from him, and I am giving him the grace to say, I bet in the locker room there's fire.
You know what?
Like, whatever.
The only thing I'll say, okay, good point, because I would say maybe he's Nate dogging, because I thought that was crazy, that Nate Dogg interview where they said, oh, what's the confidence level going into Game 5? And he was like, not very high. And I was like, what, dude?
Yeah.
Like, of all players in the league, I thought he was going to be like, we can beat anybody any night. And he was
Maybe
like,
it's a misdirect.
He was like, not good. We are in big trouble.
He's lulling the Oilers to sleep.
That's what I'm saying. So they go, Petey is mentally broken. Don't even cover him.
Yeah, and now he's going to have a hat trick.
He goes for a cat
Game
trick
5.
in Game 5, 9 tucks.
I feel like that's just a little unrealistic.
Well, why don't you revisit this when he's sitting at 8 goals in the third period? I want you to look me in the eye and say, I apologize that we're on cat trick watch.
I will get cat trick tattooed across my cheeks if Elias Pettersson scores 5 goals.
Cat on one side, T-R-I-C-K on the other.
And sure enough, T-R-I-C-K right on the other.
Okay, that's a deal.
If he gets 5 goals,
That's a deal.
I'll get cat trick.
No, we got to get...
I would even say 3.
Oh, okay. This is fantastic.
I won't do the tattoo, but if Petey gets a hat trick in Game 5, I'll do something.
Well, why don't we write cat trick in Sharpie on your cheeks, and then you have to wear assless chaps and walk down the Venice Boulevard.
Okay.
If he gets a hat trick. Come on, dude.
Can I get arrested for that?
No, you're not. Your unit, the wrench isn't out, dude. Just the butt. It's ashless chaps.
As long as I can wear a pair of thong underwear.
Yeah.
So technically,
Yeah, you're in thong.
my booty hole's not out.
Yeah.
For all the folks to see.
Yeah, never mind. You're in thong underwear and assless chaps.
Okay.
It's a kid show. I'm gonna reel it in.
Elias Pettersson gets a hat trick. Done and done. Okay. Stars Avs.
Stars Avs, baby. I've got a lot of Stars fans in the comments yawning at me, Stars in 6. They obviously can win in Colorado. That game obviously felt completely against the run of play in terms of Dallas was just all over him. You know, crushed him in the first couple games, blew leads, but crushed him early, crushed him in Denver. You know, I was like, oh my God, this is chaos. Didn't crush him in Game 3, but 2 empty netters, 4-1. It's the same script, Dan. Avs power play did jack in games 2, 3, and 4. Avs power play got on the board in game 5, got the boys going. Cale and Nate did jack. Cale and Nate got going. Cale got 2. Otter let in that one against Cale second one against Cale was a softie. Cale's first one was in fact the hardest ice cream I've ever seen. Yeah. Cale's first one was freezer burn ice cream, hard, and Cale's second one was fucking soft serve from Otter. Yeah. But we'll meet in the middle there. Yeah. But you didn't get like the complete all the saves you expect from Otter. That script, seen that movie. Wait, let me just read it one more time. Yep, that's a loss. So they aren't. I don't think they should be worried because they're like, we didn't play the best game we played. But the yawn rattles me because for me, the Avs are a fucking runaway 18-wheeler on a fucking Aspen Mountain road. But unfortunately for the Stars, there's no fucking pile of stones pull off for you to crash when the brakes go, right? They're just fucking careening down the mountain. Correct. And you might have accidentally...
Some would call them an avalanche.
You might have accidentally just cut the brakes on the Avs 18-wheeler right as they hit the steep incline sign.
Yeah, I will completely agree with you on that. I do think the Stars have been the better team. I think that they look really good. There were a couple of bad bounces. That said, did we not do this? Did we not make this same mistake in Winnipeg? You cannot... We say this about everything. Don't let someone get hot.
Yep.
You cannot let this Avalanche team get hot. You absolutely cannot. So, DeBoer, squad, you got to get back in the room and figure out what went wrong in that game and make sure it doesn't happen in Game 6 because that team is too dangerous to let them get momentum. So, whatever you got to do, however you handle this, you've got to do it because... If you, I think Dallas is the better team. If Colorado wins Game 6, I think Colorado wins the series.
Whoa.
Because of the Avalanche.
Yep.
I think it is, I think they are that team. I think they do. I think that team, this Colorado Avalanche team, builds on momentum better than any team in the playoffs that are left.
Yep.
And if you let them, they win this one. If you let them get 4 or 5 goals and get a win in Game 6, I think they're like this. We're back.
And dude, maybe this is a hot take. I'm a what do you call it if you're like a member of a church? A disciple? Is that what you're called? I'm a disciple of Jehovah's Witness.
I don't think so.
I'm a member.
You're like a member of a congregation.
It feels like member is not hard enough, but I'm a believer of the Church of Ross Colton in this case. In that, I don't think anybody in the league, including 97 in Edmonton, can win a playoff game by themselves more than Nathan MacKinnon.
I agree.
And that...
Actually, dude, I might put Cale in there, too.
Yeah, I hear that. But I just mean, dude, Nate like can pick up pucks in his own end and just, like... It's like when you got a star in Mario... And you're just like running through shit and everything's just like bouncing. Like Nate can just pick up pucks in his own end, bomb down the ice, and fire a puck through the fucking stomach of Otter, and it just goes in. And Otter's like has to go to the hospital because he's like, that was my spleen. Yeah. And Nate's like, I don't give a shit. Yeah. And if you don't want to be in a Game 7 against Nathan MacKinnon, put it that way, you don't want to be in a Game 7 against Nathan MacKinnon even more than you don't want to be in a Game 7 against Connor McDavid, in my opinion. Because you could be like, we're the better team, we're at home, we're going to win. As long as he doesn't get us a power star. Yeah. And then he's like, whoops, I actually found one in warmups. You're fucked. So I was going to ask you, rank the teams that want to see Game 7, of the Panthers, the Stars, and the Rags.
Panthers, Stars, Rangers.
Who wants to see Game 7 the least, and who...
Rangers the least.
They want to see it the least. So they're the most scared of it. Because I just feel like you just said the Stars are the most scared.
I think least to... Not least, because no one wants to see it. I think it's Rangers, Panthers, Stars. I think the Stars are last.
Oh, okay. Even though you think the Avs would win that game.
Yeah, yes, because like the Stars don't think that. They're not.
Yeah.
Me.
Like,
we're
fair.
Fine.
Yep.
And the Stars, sure they were up 3-1, but like if that goes Game 7, no one's like, oh Stars, you blew it, you let it get to. You're like, no, it's the fucking Avalanche, dude. Whatever. Yeah. Whereas the Rangers are like, oh my god.
The Rangers
and
is
the
my
Cats
first.
Are like this. No.
Yeah, the 3-1 thing is the only thing about the Cats. I would put the Cats. I think I would go Rags, Stars.
Yeah, it's just
Cats,
the
but the 3-1 is a nightmare. Yeah. But yeah, man, that's been a great series, and I'm glad it's going 6 at least because it felt unfair to the hockey community that we were going to get a gentleman's sweep of the Avs.
Okay, speaking of the Avs, we're going to kick it to our interview with John Michael Liles. What an awesome storyteller.
Johnny is the man, and Johnny has I want to be Johnny.
Coolest life in the world.
He played pro, was a stud in the league, and now lives in Vail and is a wine and bourbon connoisseur and gets to talk hockey out of his wine cave.
Yeah, works for the Avs on altitude. He's just such a good person. Great storyteller, like I said, amazing player. We're going to kick it to the interview, have a blast with this, just like we did. Enjoy. Okay, we are joined by a Zionsville, Indiana native, a member of the CCHA first team 2 years in a row at Michigan State, a Hobey Baker finalist, the 159th overall pick for the Colorado Avalanche, member of the all-rookie team, who also played for the Toronto Maple Leafs, Carolina Hurricanes, and Boston Bruins, a member of the Indiana Sports Hall of Fame. John Michael Liles, welcome to the Empty Netters podcast.
Hell of a run.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for having me.
A pleasure.
I always say it was a good run for a short kid from Indiana.
Well, a hell of a run.
Yeah, my God.
You were a weapon. I think what I also wanted to put on that hit list that you have there is I think, Johnny, you might be the greatest NHL video game player of all time. Like in 2010, NHL 2010, you were the biggest weapon in the history of video games.
It's funny you say that. You get people tweeting you about what your character, what your player is on these video games, and I'm like, oh, sweet, that's awesome. I just remember like when I first made the NHL, the first game that I bought was NHL, so that I could like play myself on the game. It was like the most surreal thing. I'm actually like, I grew up playing these games and now I'm on the game. Like it blew my mind at the time. It was so cool.
Absolute dream, dude. And it was the speed, right? It was the speed.
Dude, it was a 99 plus.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah. And Johnny, I got my college roommate, one of my best friends on earth. He's from New York, so he was a Rangers guy. We're from Boston area. We're Bruins guys. So we would always start NHL dynasties in our years at college. We get to college and start a dynasty that we'd play all year on NHL. And we would only play as original 6 teams, but we agreed to never be the Bruins or the Rangers because it would be unfair to one of us. So we were just rolled through the other 4 original 6 teams. And every year we would trade for you first so we could have you on the back end. And dude, I shit you not, one year NHL glitched. And I don't know what happened, but the NHL game glitched. And every player on our team, the announcer would call Liles. So we would be playing and it'd be like, Liles to Liles, slides it across to Liles. and it became our biggest running joke of all time that you were every player on our team. And I have not told him we're interviewing you yet. And he is going to shit when I'm like, dude, guess who I was just talking to? So thank you for that year of my life. It was amazing.
Oh, that's amazing.
Dude,
of course. Yeah. Happy to contribute.
Oh my gosh. What's also great is when you, like, I obviously heard about that story. And then when you came to the Bruins, who was our childhood team, I was like, oh my God, we did it. Like, the video game has become reality.
Yep. All right, Johnny, let's, I want to throw it back to.
Speed was a little different at that time.
That's how it happens. It happens to all of us. God. All right, to throw it back to some of the early days. Of course, as you said, growing up, not a lot of kids are playing hockey where you're from, but you love the game. You end up at Culver Academy, which we were talking about earlier, and then the Dev program, which I know had a big impact, you being in Michigan, for you ending up at Michigan State, right?
Yeah.
You get to Michigan State as your leading defense scorer as a defenseman, as a freshman, get drafted by the Avs, and I have a Michigan State question for you, but before we even do that, I was curious what the convo was, because you ended up playing all 4 years at Michigan State. So I was just curious what the convo was in terms of when you would go. Did you want to stay? Did they want you to stay? How did that all work?
Well, at Michigan State, I mean, I was extremely fortunate. I came in with a great class. Like Ryan Miller was in my class. Brad Fast was my D partner, same class. And we had a really, really good class. A lot of great older classmen. Sean Horkoff was the captain my freshman year. Just, guys like that, guys that I looked up to. And after my junior year, I had a good junior year, and Colorado called and asked, what I thought about turning pro. And I mean, at that time, like, I was never tall by any means, 5'10", but I think I still weighed like 160 some odd pounds. And that was really before smaller defensemen were in the NHL. You had like Brian Rafalski and maybe one or two other, smaller D that were really good in the NHL. So I kind of knew that I needed a fourth year at Michigan State. And so I stayed for my senior, turned pro right after, and I was able to kind of get a little bit of weight on up to like 170, 172. And then signed with Colorado, went to Hershey, played 10 games in Hershey, and then was fortunate I made the team in Colorado out of training camp the following year. But I knew I needed that extra year. Like, if I had left, I think I would have gotten killed. And that senior year for me, I was able to really focus on, just being a more well-rounded defenseman. Like, the offense and the skating always was always something that kind of came natural to me. But we had Duncan Keith on the team at Michigan State. He left halfway through the year to go to Kelowna, and we lost another defenseman. So Brad Fast and I played a ton of minutes and played penalty kill, power play. Like, we were averaging over 30 minutes a night our second half of our senior year. And yeah, it was a lot. I mean, I think I had 50 points in 39 games, and it was like we were out there. It was every other shift for us, every night. And for me, like that really kind of propelled me into being ready for that next step.
Yeah, that's so great. Yeah, because I feel like that's so rare these days for a legit prospect to be just staying in school, right? They do a year, they do maybe two, and then it's like, all right, time to move on. So I love to, as huge fans of college hockey growing up, I love to hear the success story of I needed it. It wasn't like I didn't want to go, I wanted to go, but I really felt like it was a helpful time.
Also, dude, 30 minutes a night is absolutely preposterous. Like, just averaging a 30 burger every time you hit the sheet is truly absurd.
We had one game, I remember I don't know who it was, if it was the radio guy or somebody, and he went back and like, because they weren't calculating time on ice at that point, especially clocked it, and he said Fast and I were, I think we had 41 one night that went into overtime, and they got the most out of us for sure. Yeah. But I needed it. Like, you had to pick your spots, because it's not like you were leading the rush every time when you're playing over 30 minutes a night. So Fasty and I think like, I led the team in scoring. Fasty was second as D men, and we were D partners. So it was like a really cool thing. He's one of my best friends to this day. And just, like experiences that, looking back 20 years later, it's really cool.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to ask about the Michigan State experience. Just, you guys had a ton of success. Frozen Four once, right? Made the dance 3 times, I think. And so tell us just a little bit about some of your favorite memories, especially the Cold War game, right? Which was like at Spartan Stadium at the time, the biggest attendance for a hockey game ever, over 74,000, 3-3 tie against Michigan, absolute tilt. So yeah, hit us with some of your favorite Michigan State memories.
Well, the Cold War was really, really cool. I mean, that was like one of the first real outdoor games, and it kind of gave, like, the Tempe does it pretty regularly as well, but at the time it wasn't a regular occurrence. So for that to happen, we did it a month after 9/11. It was like October 3rd of 2001. Like, there was a ton of emotion, and I just remember like the days leading up, it was like 60 degrees outside, and they hadn't perfected how to like really get the ice dialed, even if the weather was warm. And so, we weren't sure if we were even going to be able to play, but that night, like, it dropped down perfect. The ice was fast. Super, super cool. Like, we tied it with like a minute left. Jim Slater, who played a long time in the NHL, he was a freshman, scored a goal with like a minute left, and the place went bananas, had an overtime with a bunch of chances. I mean, that was for sure one of my favorite memories. Frozen Four was super cool. Millsy had like one of the best years ever as a goaltender, won the Hobie Baker. He had like a 1-3 goals against and like a 950 save percentage. Like he was insane in college. Like I always tell him like, thank goodness I was playing D and you were getting breakaways on you all the time. That's what made you so good. Like he's a tremendous guy. He's working for San Jose now and living in California. Just one of my best buddies still to this day. And just the guys that I played with, I was when I was choosing schools, it came down to Notre Dame and Michigan State. Dave Poulin was at Notre Dame, and I'm from Indiana, so I think Poulin thought it was like 100% I was going to Notre Dame. And in the end, it was like Michigan State. There was just something that fit. The guys there, what they were doing, they had a tremendous team, and so. Choosing Michigan State, I think, Poulin was not too happy with me, but for me, it was close, but not too close. So my parents still came to quite a few games. My grandfather, who was around at the time, came to a bunch of games. And so it was, it was an amazing fit. I don't know how I got a degree, but I somehow did. It took me like 7 years. It's, it's how it goes sometimes, but it was an amazing experience. The guys that I played with, and just like some of those memories looking back. CCHA. Like now, I look at the Big Ten and I like can barely wrap my mind around the college hockey conferences anymore. Big Ten makes sense, but like I'm in the CCHA, and now I see it and I'm like, what is happening? There's so much going on in college hockey, but I guess that's college sports these days. I owe a lot to Michigan State. Ron Mason was there, my first 3 years. Rick Comley, my senior year. And then, I can't say enough good things about the development program in Ann Arbor. Like for a kid from Indiana playing at Culver, I just wanted to play hockey. I never thought I was going to play, in the NHL or anything, right? Like I ended up at Culver. All of a sudden you get invited to the national program. It's the first 2 years that it ever existed. So like it was, they were working out the kinks all over the place. And so, but like the guys that I played with there, like Rick DiPietro was one of my best buddies there, ends up being the first overall pick. And then to go from there to Michigan State and then somehow make a career out of it. Like, it's just, I still look back and I'm like, how, growing up, I mean, there's like, whatever, I don't know, there's maybe 5-6 rinks in Indiana total, I think, growing up. And we played in every one of them, and we were traveling every weekend, and my parents, driving to Chicago and Detroit and to Toronto. And we were fortunate, like our group at our age, all the parents were super committed to like having us play the best teams. And I just remember going to Detroit when we were like 10 years old and getting stomped for like 4 months in a row. And then by the end of the season, we were actually like losing 4-1 instead of 10-1. And then, the next year we were actually like 4th place in the Michigan National League. And so it just, I mean, kind of a cool journey for a kid from Indiana who, most of my buddies played basketball or football or, things like that. Like, nobody in Zionsville played hockey. That was just kind of how it was.
So awesome. Dude, you had a pretty insane run of tendies now that I think about it. Going from DiPietro to Millsy, then to Waugh. Like, that's not a bad run of goaltenders that you're saying in front.
So I missed Patty.
Oh, did you? Okay. I was like, did you catch him that first
year? 1 year. So my first game in the NHL was his jersey retirement.
Okay, that I was like, there was a bit not what it was. There was a bit of overlap. Damn. But still, I mean, DiPietro to Miller is ridiculous. That's a pretty good run. I'm curious, man, what made you play defense? Like the speed, the handles, it just feels like you're a winger. And then did you always just love D, or what was the situation there?
No, it's funny. Like I was like a third. I played D like when I was young, and then kind of middle school, they moved me to forward, and I was like a third or fourth line forward on our team in Indiana. And I remember I got cut from our AAA team my 8th grade year, and I played AA that whole year, and it was like one of those like kind of moments where everything clicked. Mm-hmm. And I was never a great skater. I was average skater. And then that 8th grade year, first was a coach. His name's Rob Kirsch. Lives in Vancouver now, but he came in to coach our team. And he was out of Detroit. Amazing guy, like very cerebral, and dealing with a bunch of 13-year-olds at AA hockey in Indiana. Like he got the most out of us. It was a really cool experience. And so I was playing forward, my skating clicked, so all of a sudden I was a better skater. But then he moved me back to D on the power play, and so I was running our power play from the back end.
There you go.
And when I went to Culver as a freshman, I came in as a forward, and I said, well, I played forward or D on the power play last year, and the coach there was like, you're too good a skater to play forward. You're playing D. And that was it. He moved me to D my freshman year of at Culver. And from then on, I've played D ever since. And that was it just clicked. Like I said, my skating, that was the biggest thing. I did, hockey treadmill stuff in Indianapolis at Acceleration, Indiana, was like a huge thing for me, where it was like plyometrics and that. And all of a sudden my skating was just like, that completely changed me as a player and allowed me to really become one of the better players on our team is kind of how I looked at it, and not just like a third line, fourth line guy.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. All right. So dude, you have this great run at Michigan State, and then you get to the show, you get to Colorado. I want to talk about Sakic. You get to this team, and it's just like the most stacked team I've ever seen. Like you're on this team with like Sakic, Correa, Solani, Tanguay, Hayduk, Foote, Blake, Forsberg.
Yeah.
Like it's the most absurd team ever. And then your first year in the league, you're rooming with Joe on the road, right? So I'm just curious, what was it like having that be your first experience in the NHL, playing with so many of these legends, and then rooming with Sakic? What was going on in your head, and what are some of the stories that come to mind of that first experience?
Oh man, it was first it was amazing to be able to make the team that year. Like they had the ESPN The Season following us around, and the only reason I made the team, DJ Smith, who was the coach of the Ottawa Senators, he got an eye injury in camp, and so I was the sixth defenseman because he got an eye injury, and so that's the only reason I think I made the team, and thankfully, I mean, like I love DJ, he was awesome to me, but like it's weird how those things work out, right? Where like just one little thing, it's opportunity and it's a little bit of luck. And it kind of opened the door for me, and I was able to take advantage of it, in training camp and in, the first, 10, 20 games of the season. But playing with those guys, I mean, I was in Ireland on a golf trip in August for Joe and Timu's 50th birthdays. It's funny how like 20 years later, Joe's still a really good buddy of mine. And, he was my roommate. Like I wasn't his roommate right away, but he, it was back when older guys had roommates on the road. Now everybody has their own rooms. And so it was, I don't know how it worked out. I don't know if Correa was sick one time, but they put me with Joe, and he scored 2 goals that night. And so Jacques Cloutier, who was the assistant coach, he went up to like our PR guy, and he's like, hey, Johnny's Joe's roommate from now on. And so like 2 months into the season, I'm on this team with like our decor. It was like, I was partnered with Rob Blake. It was Strastons and Foote. It was Derek Morris and Martin Skula. And then at forward, our top 2 lines were Sakic, Correa, Solani, Forsberg, Tanguay, Hayduk. And so like my dad just kept telling me, just soak it all in, because this isn't going to happen again.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's never going to be a team like this again. And so, it was just one of those things. Like it was just so cool looking back on it. And like Rob Blake took such good care of me. Adam Foote, I mean, that guy, he helped me a lot. Like I lived with Dan Hinote, who was an absolute legend. I always say Danny, he's an assistant coach with Nashville now. I always say like living with him added 5 years to my career, but took 10 years off my life. It was a really, really fun team is what I would say. And it was old school. It was old school hockey. Like nowadays, like the league is so young now. Yeah. And at that time, like our average age was like 31. And I was this 22-year-old kid who happened to make the team out of training camp. And I was just trying to soak it all in. And like when I got traded to Toronto in 2011, I think I was the oldest guy at 30. And just like in that 8-year window, how quick the league went to this like younger model was really crazy. But I just looking back, there was so much fun. We had like such good guys. I mean, I still see Joe all the time around the rink. And, we do a bunch of Avs alumni stuff together, footies around Denver in the summers. And yeah, I mean, it's like looking back, I like, it's hard to win in the playoffs. And we lost in the second round. San Jose, had our number. But you look back and you just think about like what could have been with that team. Like Korea got a high ankle sprain the last game of the regular season. Timu had like a knee injury that really hurt him like most of that regular season as well. And it was just one of those things like we didn't click and couldn't, we just couldn't get past that second round. San Jose just they had our number.
You must have been so nervous that those first couple of years playing credit card roulette at dinners with guys like that.
Yeah.
It's like all these like 31-year-old legends who have made all their money.
Yeah.
JM's just sitting there like, fuck me. This is crazy.
Yeah. League minimum was a lot lower then. And I mean, those guys, that was before escrow. So, like Forsberg is making 11 million, no escrow.
Yeah.
So, we had like Blakey making, I think 9, I think Joe was making 10, and like, I'm making 300, I think my first year. It was interesting.
Oh yeah. Was it surreal though? Like you just kind of touched on it. Did you ever have moments where you guys were just like hanging out, goofing around on the road, being at dinners and stuff like that and looking around and being like, there's like 6 Hall of Famers here sitting at this table?
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look around and like you'd be at dinner with these guys. I mean, the poker game at the back of the plane, like it was impressive what was happening back there. I did not dive into that one because I wanted to keep some of my league minimum. And so, it was like, you'd be sitting on the plane and like, at the time they didn't have, the handheld like video games. So like me, Forsberg and Heinold would bring our laptops on the plane and play Tiger Woods golf with mouses. and like, just that was like I'm like looking around and I'm like, I'm playing like Tiger Woods golf with Peter Forsberg with our laptops all hooked up with wires at the time. And, you like go to the hotel room and like one of the guys from Michigan State, that's still there would call me and be like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm watching American Idol with Joe. Yeah. And they're like, no way. I'm like, yeah, that's what's happening. Like it's just it was surreal at the time, and even like thinking back to it now, it's still a little bit surreal. Just the friendships you make, like you go to battle with those guys and like they're Hall of Famers. Like it's amazing to see, to know what they were before I played with them and then to see them in action. Like there's times you'd be sitting on the bench and like Forsberg would have the puck. And like, mind you, this is like when his ankle was really messed up. Like he practiced like 5 times that year, but still like just dominate the game. And like you'd be sitting on the bench and you'd watch like what he was doing with the puck. And like a D-man would be coming to change for you, and you would just be like focused on Pete, and like the coach would be like, Johnny, like what are you doing? And you're like, I'm supposed to be on the ice, right? And you just dive over the boards. But like Pete had that ability, and like he just, I mean, man, I can't even tell you how many times you're like just going back door. There's 4 guys between you, and he would put it through guys' legs that like there wasn't even a lane there. Yeah. And it would just hit your tape, and you'd miss the net because you wouldn't expect it to hit your tape.
Yeah, like your stick falls
like,
out of your hands.
I'm not going to pass to you anymore. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yeah, I'm not going to pass to you anymore if you don't bury those. And I'm like, dude, I never even saw the puck.
Yeah.
Right? But that's, I mean, like that like Pete was just, man, he was so good. And it's funny, like we had in November, we have an alumni skate in Denver that I try and go down to, once, I don't know, every few months or whatever, once a month if I can. It's like every other week. And Pete was in town in Denver, and we play over 40 versus under 40. And so the under 40s just stomped the over 40s. Yep. So Pete was in town, and I texted him like, hey, any chance you want to skate tomorrow? And he's like, I'm playing in the Legends game in Toronto next weekend. Yeah, I'd love to. He's like, I just need a stick. And I was like, okay. So I texted John Mitchell, and I was like, hey, can Forsberg use your stick for this? And he's like, for alumni skate? He's like, yeah, sure. So I texted Joe. I was like, hey, Pete's skating tomorrow in the alumni skate. You want to skate? And Joe's like, yep, I'm in. So then I text Hayduk. I was like, hey, Joe and Pete are in for tomorrow. And Hayduk's like, yep, I'm in. And so all of a sudden, like our starting lineup on the over 40 side was like Hayduk, Sakic, Forsberg, And then you had like, some of the younger guys like Kyle Quincy on the other side, John Mitchell, like good players, great players, but like Pete still on one leg, like his hands are ridiculous. And so the Avs were practicing at the same time so it's side by side rinks there in Denver.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden Kyle Keefe tweeted, Avs alumni skate happening right now. Forsberg, Sakic, Hayduk start. And like all these fans start trickling over, and like I think we had more fans than the Avs practice because of those guys. Like it was just surreal, like doing that in, today, 20 years later after playing with those guys, that the 03-04 season.
Dude, I mean, intimidation alone.
Oh my God,
I feel like
dude.
the over 40s have the edge there. That's awesome.
When did Sakic make you give up the Z bubble? When did that happen officially?
Oh, you saw that tweet. Yeah. My rookie year, so I had the Z Bubble Nike Wood Blade combo. I love that thing. It was awesome.
Fuck yeah.
And I used it my whole college career. And like partway through the year, it was like a month into the season. And Joe was like, hey, your shot is awful. He's like, you have to switch to a Synergy. Otherwise, I'm not passing you the puck anymore. And so I switched to a Synergy because of that. So that was like the day the Z Bubble Nike Blade combo died. I still have a few in the garage that I don't know if I'll break them out, but that's like my college career summed up is the Z Bubble with a Nike Blade combo. It was the best.
Joe was just trying to push for more Sakic curve sales.
Yeah,
he's like, we need everybody to get the Sakic curve.
He was one of the biggest Synergy guys in the game.
Yeah.
It was better. It was better. I'll admit it. The shot was at least a little harder.
Yeah,
so he passed me the puck a little bit.
Yeah, right. We needed that.
Johnny, I think next time the Avs win the cup, we need to deliver Joe a Z Bubble Wood Blade combo right to his desk as a gift.
Yeah.
I don't know if he will if he'll touch that thing. He's still got quite a few Synergies like hanging around, and he skates more than he admits, is what I would say.
I love that.
He still looks pretty good out there. He like him and like Pete's hands, like he was putting it through guys' legs all over the place in that alumni skate. Like it was fun to watch. And then Hayduk can still play. Like he can flat. Like if you put him on the right side with McKinnon and Rantanen, he'd score 25 goals. Like he's still posting in every time. Like can still move. Like it is unbelievable. And we have these alumni events all over the mountains. So we do one in Vail, we do one in Aspen, we do one in Brackton, we do one in Telluride. And like when Hedgie's on the other team, it is the most frustrating thing ever because the guy still has the puck like on a string and can just like he scores. I don't know what they score like 8 goals a game every time, and it's against other alumni. And it's so frustrating, but it's fun to watch because he stays in really good shape, and him and like Pierre Turgeon are in unbelievable shape still.
Oh, I love that. Johnny, I got a Leafs question for you, but before I even ask it, I know you've told this story a bunch of times, but some of our listeners haven't heard the Kessel Carlisle story. Can you just tell that? Can you just do that impression really quickly so they can hear it?
Oh man, Phil Kessel. So Randy came in and he wanted to do weigh-ins, and so we were doing weigh-ins, and it wasn't like one of the first ones, but it was one of those days. Phil came in. Phil's like 50-50 grumpy or like grumpy, but then like kind of grumpy. Like he's never like over the top happy. I feel like he comes in and he smiles, and you're like, oh, all right, that's like good day for Phil. And some days he comes in like grumpy and I'm just so tired today. Like it's and so. It was one of those days, I think, and Randy, everybody weighed in that day, and Randy had like what he thought everybody should be like playing at. Like, here's your window that he thinks you should be playing at. And so Phil didn't weigh in, and Belza, the strength coach, took it into Randy, and Randy's like, where's Phil? And he's like, he won't weigh in. And Randy's like, you tell him he needs to weigh in right now. And so Belza comes back and he's like, Phil, you got to weigh in. Randy's telling me you got to weigh in. And then Phil just like lost. And he like pokes his head out down the hall and he just, you tell that fat fuck if he wants me to weigh in, he can come weigh me in himself. And like all of us are standing there. We're like, yo, like you're just putting your head down, right? Like, cause it's Phil. Like dude, I love the guy. Like he's one of my favorite guys I ever played with. He's so funny. And like, he's like kind of a freak athlete too. Like never ate well. Like he doesn't like the taste of water. He would drink Coke. in between periods. And like, he just, like, but then the guy is like ping pong. He would beat anybody. Like him and Phaneuf would have these like knockdown drag out matches before practice. He was a really good golfer. Like in the weight room, you could make a bet with him. Like he'd be like, I can't lift this. And you'd be like, okay, you see that 140-pound dumbbell? I'll give you $1,000 if you can clean it over your head. And he'd just walk over and just be like, boom, and just rip it over his head. And he'd be like, pay up, right? Like he was just so explosive, and he just played it off like he wasn't. And like everything was just this chore and challenge. But man, it's amazing what he was, like the player that he was, and just the things that he could do. Like he was an awesome guy, and man, he was an endless source of comedy in that room. It was awesome to play with him.
What a dream, dude.
Eichel said the same thing. He was like, he is like the best guy in the world to be around, and if he took care of his body even a little bit, he'd play till he was 60.
Yeah.
It's one, and like you think about it, Iron Man streak, and I mean, 2-time Stanley Cup winner, right? Like he's like, it's awesome to see because and I think he dialed in like everything a little better by that time, right? When he was in Pittsburgh, you had him and Tocchet were good buddies, and I think Talk was in his ear about like nutrition and things like that. And I mean, he did it, right? Like he just did it. He went out and did it every night. Like you never, like he would come in after every warm up, and he'd be like, Doc, I can't go tonight. My wrist I think it's broken. And the doctor would be like, well, Phil, like let's give it a shot. Like the doctor in Toronto was like amazing. He basically got Phil to play every game from some sort of ailment that was hurting Phil after warmups. And Phil would have like a goal and 2 assists in the first period. He'd be like, I'm feeling all right. I'm feeling a little better,
It's so funny to me that Phil gets the Iron Man streak when it turns out he was trying to not play every single night. Like against all odds, he got the Iron Man streak. Like
it's unbelievable. Yeah.
Christ.
It's unbelievable. He like somehow, and we're watching it, and it's like I'm like he's gonna get this streak, and he very rarely got hit hard, right? Like he saw the game, in like slow motion. Like he could see these plays coming, and there's a reason why he was such a good player. And he very rarely, like he got hit hard in Tampa, like one of his first years, I think, with Toronto. But other than that, like I don't remember him getting really hard. And I remember playing against him when he was in Pitt, and I think I was in like Carolina. And I was coming down the boards, and I could hear him behind me. He's like, Johnny, I'm right here. You better watch it. I'm going to take the puck from you. And that was like the constant playing against Phil. It was amazing.
Oh, God, he's such a beauty.
It's incredible.
I love it so much.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. All right. I want to
he was awesome.
Talk about Toronto-Boston?
Well, I was going to ask quick, Johnny, because we're Bees guys, so I wanted to ask quick about that Game 7, and I hate to do it to you, but I've always been so curious, what was the vibe before OT? Like, what was the energy in the room after it gets tied? Are you guys like, we are fucked? Or are you like, it's all right, boys, like, come on? What was that energy?
Well, I mean, the vibe, like, dude, the whole thing was crazy. So, I played Game 1. I was healthy, like, Game, I think 2, 3, 4, and then came back for Game 5 in Boston. Mark Fraser broke his face. Then we played in Toronto Game 6, won that game. So all of a sudden it's 3-3. And I remember we played Game 6 and Game 7 back to back. So we flew to Boston.
I forgot about that.
And I remember, and I think Boston's plane broke down. I think they didn't even fly out after the Game 6. I think they flew in the morning of Game 7. Yes. And so, I mean, like, that somebody in Toronto, one of the airline guys was in that thing, like banging away with a wrench, whatever, right?
Just pouring coffee on the mainframe.
I remember I remember waking up Game 7 in Boston, and I got out of bed and my knee gave out. And I was like, what just happened? And so I called the doctor, and he's like, you got to come down here. And so I went and saw him, and he's like, you have a grade 2 MCL, borderline grade 3. So, but it was like, I didn't even feel it from Game 6 until I woke up the next morning. They're like, all right, you got to come into the rink, 3 hours early. Cause we got to know if you're going to play or if somebody else has to go in. And so I remember, I don't know what it was, but it was something. And I remember going out for warm-ups after they gave me like this painkiller.
Yeah.
And I did not feel anything for like 4 days. Like it was like I just remember like flying around in warm-ups and I was like, yep, good to go.
Yeah,
No
this
brace,
thing is great,
nothing.
dude.
It was like, yeah, it was unbelievable. I was like, and then like 4 days later, I was like, oh my God. I'm like, my knee hurts so bad. And it took like the majority of the summer. Sorry, I like went off on a little tangent there.
No,
about,
this is
Game
hilarious.
7, but it's like one of the things that you like like it like replays in your head. And I just remember like after third period going into overtime, no, I mean the vibe was still good. Like, yeah, you don't want to give up 3 goals, but like we were down 3-1 and nobody gave us a chance in the series. And we go into Boston and play really well in Game 5. Then we played really well in Game 6, and then we had a chance to win in Game 7. And like everybody, I don't know, like we just after Game 1, like they pumped us in Game 1, I'm pretty sure. And so it was like nobody was giving us a chance. So to even be in that situation, like we knew like all it takes is one, right? And so you're you're trying to muster up more energy for that. Like it was a tough, hard fought series. I mean, that team that Boston had they were tough. They were like the gold standard for like the NHL, right? Mm-hmm. Like, and we kind of went toe to toe with them. And unfortunately, like then going there and playing with those guys 4 years later, right? Like Bergie is unbelievable, scores the overtime winner, of course. Marshy, like I hated playing against Marshy, but like you love him to death when you play with him. And like I always say, you see, like, why they had success or they've had success for so long. Like they genuinely care about each other in that room. Like Bergie and Marshy, like you go in and they care about you. Like they care about your fan. You feel like you're loved. And like I only spent a year and a half in Boston, but I loved every second. I had a bad concussion my last year and missed a bunch of games, but like playing with those guys in that group and that organization, like it just meant so much to me. Like I've said this multiple times. I couldn't have picked a better place to finish my career. Awesome. Like Torrey Krug, he's a Michigan State kid, like, one of my best buddies to this day. Like Bergie, like unbelievable guy, the guys that I played with in that room and like just being in the city. And I loved every second of it. Like my wife and I still, if we weren't in Colorado, my wife's from here, and we weren't like building a house, like we probably would have stayed in Boston. Wow. Sweens actually tried to hire me twice when I retired. And I just, I said, I'm like, I'm in Colorado doing TV, but I appreciate it. Like he was great to me. And yeah, just it was a really, really awesome experience.
That's amazing, dude. I knew you became really good buddies with Kruger, but that's awesome to hear, because obviously that's our childhood rooting for that team and that core, and you want to believe that it's just a great group. So I love that.
It truly is, and like I said, I couldn't ask for a better place to finish. I mean, like I could name off all so many more guys. Z and Carlo came in as a rookie my last year, and he's a Colorado kid. Like it's it's funny. Like just he's back in Colorado in the summers, and like we still go and get dinner, and our wives are still really close. And I mean, just a fantastic kid. It's funny, like that training camp when Carlo came in, he was 18. 6'5", just a freak athlete, like crushing all these testings that the testing that they do. Normally, like at that age, they were saying like not only that age, but like that, you're that big and you're normally not really like, you don't excel at a lot of the tests that they do. And he crushed everything. And so it was like, man, this kid is legit. And I remember Sweens pulling me aside and he's like, hey, you're going to like be with Carlo in training camp. You're going to like, I want you to sit next to him on the bench. You're going to be his partner. I want you to sit next to him on the plane. And so for the whole training camp, I was like, all right, Brandon, what'd you see there? Like, what'd you think of this? What'd you think of that? And I just remember like Game 1, they put him with Z, and it was like him and Z for the rest of the year. And I never played like another shift
what
with
the
him.
fuck?
I don't think. Like, it was, but it was, like the Crash Davis of Bull Durham, right? Like, taking Abby Calvin LaLouche and like, you have fungus on your shower shoes, right?
You win 20 in the show. You win 20 in the show. You can have fungus on your shower shoes.
Exactly.
We might have just become,
Brandon's a great kid.
We might have just become best friends with that Bull Durham reference. That was fantastic. Dude, I don't want to talk about maybe a negative story, but it's such an interesting thing, and I need you to just share it a little bit. I want to talk about the Winter Classic game in Toronto, because I don't think everyone knows that story. So tell the people what went down. You're about to play in a Winter Classic, and then you get the call from the Canes.
Yeah, so that year in training camp with Toronto, I got sent down to the minors and played with the Marlies to start the season. And it was, I mean, I don't know. It was kind of one of those things. The writing was a little bit on the wall, with Toronto in terms of like I had signed this extension. Ron Wilson got fired. Randy came in. Randy was looking more bigger, stronger, kind of D-men. Jake Gardner came in and was playing really well as a rookie. Morgan Riley. Like we had these young puck movers, and so all of a sudden it kind of made me a little bit expendable, I would say. And so I got put on waivers, played for the Marlies, got called up, and then was kind of playing here and there. And we were in Detroit staying, and the night before my agent called me. He goes, "Hey," he's like, "there might be a trade happening. They're still working out the details." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." I think I was in the lineup the next day, but I'm not 100% sure. Randy never posted the lineups until after warmups, basically. So you never knew, like you were just on your, you were just ready. And so about to go out for warmups. And I think it was Dave Nonis came up to me. He's like, "Hey, we have a trade in place." And I go, "Perfect." I go, "I'm still going out for warmups."
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's like, "All right, sounds good." And so like, it wasn't, I don't think everything was completely finalized. So I went out for warmups, like no bucket, knew I was getting traded. Go to stretch on the red line, and like Kyle Quincy's on Detroit, Drew Miller, Ryan's brother. And so like, I'm really good buddies with those guys. Played with Kyle in Colorado, and Drew is a Michigan State kid. And just like, really close with our family. And they were like, "Hey, what's up?" And I was like, "I just got traded." And they're like, no way. Right. Like across the red line.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Yeah, I just got traded." I go, "I don't know where yet." And they were just laughing. And so then I just wheeled around for warmups. And it's funny, like walking off the ice, like you walk in the big house there at Michigan Stadium. We walk next to Detroit off the ice.
Yeah.
Drew Miller, there's a picture of him with his arm around me going into the tunnel because I had just gotten traded, and it was Carolina. So I watched the game from the tunnel standing there, and I got on the equipment truck to the airport to fly to Washington, D.C. to meet Carolina. So I literally rode in the equipment truck with the equipment guys, and then Jim Hughes, Jack and Quinn's dad.
Sure.
He was one of the scouts for Toronto, and he was flying to like Finland to scout. And so we rode in the equipment truck together. Like, it's like so funny. And he like pulled me aside at the draft a couple of years ago. And he's like, "Do you remember riding the equipment truck with me? Like right after you got traded?" I'm like, "Holy cow." Like, I didn't remember that, but now I do. And it was just, like just crazy. And now you see like Jack, Quinn, like they're like dominating, and they were like small when I was in Toronto. And I'm like, God, it's crazy. It's crazy to think about.
That is hilarious, dude. What a journey. All right. And then Johnny, tell us a little bit about what you're up to now. You're doing the altitude stuff, but then also the real estate gig, which I think is fascinating.
Yeah.
I heard you say on Chicklets that you were like, my brain was going to fall out of my ears if I didn't find something to do. So yeah, tell us about how the real estate's helped keep that baby in there.
Well, for me, it's like, it's been a new challenge, and I've been fortunate. I have a great mentor here. He was a Middlebury guy, played baseball at Middlebury. Our kids are the same age. They play hockey together. And he just kind of, I was like going crazy a little, 2019 or whatever, right before COVID. And I'm like, I just, my brain feels like it's leaking out my ears because I'm not doing anything, right? Like I'm doing TV, which was great, but I wasn't doing TV full time. And so it was like, okay, I just needed something to like really dive into. And he brought me on with him with Sotheby's. And then since then we're on like a new development here, like a $200 million condo townhome development called Front Gate Avon, which has been like an amazing experience, learned so much. It's one of those things, like I just, TV was a way that I got into it because I just wasn't sure what I was going to do when I retired. I was like, I'll just ski and golf and, hang out and enjoy time with the family. And like partway through that first summer, I was like, oh no, I'm not going to do anything.
Yeah.
Like I'm terrible at not doing anything. And so I was in touch with the TV guys in Denver, and they were awesome. They're like, yeah, come down whenever you want. And it's been a cool thing because that to me, like it's I've been doing it for 7 years, and kind of ebbs and flows with how many games I actually do. The playoffs are awesome. I try and do as many of those games as I can, and the wine cave's been like a thing that's materialized from COVID. But yeah, the real estate has been a great thing for me to learn and like really just like dive into. And it's funny, Billy Jaffe, who's one of the TV guys for the Bruins, he did CCHA stuff when I was at Michigan State, so I've known him forever. And when when we lost to Ottawa that year and we were going through like the exit stuff, and he kind of pulled me aside and he's like, hey, don't be afraid to fail. He goes, you've had like NHL guys, like you're so used to succeeding, making, whatever, college hockey, junior, like NHL, and you've had this success for so long that you don't realize that like failure is a part of life, and it's something that is, everybody goes through it. And so he's like, don't be afraid to fail, and you're gonna fail. And to me, that really stuck. Like to this day, I still sit there and I'm like, okay, like real estate has been a great thing for me. It was something that I was, like you get into it and you're like, oh my God, like I don't even know what's going on half the time. It's just, it's terrifying. And you're like, but you have to be willing to put yourself out there and try new things. And so it's been a really cool thing for me to be able to do and just feel like I'm challenging myself. Not to say that, it's I'm going to be a real estate agent until I'm 60 years old, but for these last, 4 years or so, it's been a really great thing for me to be able to have that focus, and then still, flexibility to do TV and be there for my, kids and be on the ice and with my 8-year-old and my 5-year-old's figure skating and like be at those things. So it's been an interesting journey, I would say, and challenging at times, but it's been something that I don't know, like if I hadn't gone into real estate, I don't know where I'd be right now.
Johnny's playing NHL 2010 still in the basement, and he's like, I got to get a fucking job.
It's like 6 bottles of wine deep. Guys just completely lost it. You probably would have taken that job from Sweens is what would have happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, man, no way. Somebody asked me if I wanted to coach, and I was like, nope, don't want to coach. That's crazy. Like, travel as much as the team does, and like that's a lot of work. I'm good. I'll do TV. I can just judge people and not have any, not have to commit that as much time.
It's a no-brainer, dude. All right, last bit of hockey stuff before we get into some fun stuff. Just quickly want to talk about the Avs right now going on in the series, and specifically if you're down to give just your opinion on it, the Val situation, because it's like this is the second year in a row just getting a crushing blow with that talented of a player being out of the lineup all of a sudden. Like, what do you think's going through the heads in that locker room, and then how do you feel about their chances?
Well, it's going to be tough first and foremost. Down 3-1 going back to Dallas. Dallas has played an amazing series. Like very few mistakes, very, very few, especially since game 1. They don't give up a whole lot. Ottinger is really, really good. They're deep. The Avs haven't had a lead in this series. They scored the overtime winner in game 1, but they haven't had a lead. And, the power play's definitely gone quiet the last 3 games. And so, that's a tough recipe. And, I look at game 3, the Avs were 0 for 3 in the first period on the power play.
Yeah. And,
end up losing 4-1 with 2 empty netters, but it was 2-1, and Dallas capitalized on really 2 mistakes that the Avs made. And the Avs played a solid game, but when the power play doesn't score, and then now you go into game 4, and between morning skate and the game, guys are coming into the rink, 3 hours early, and you find out Val's out for 6 months. Like it was, that was a big blow.
Oh yeah.
Val, I was talking about this. I was on Chicklets the other day, and I Val went a year without scoring a goal.
Yeah. Wow.
And getting a penalty, which I have no idea how that guy doesn't score a goal. Like standing in front of the net, he's 6'5", right? And he's like jacked. And so like he can skate. He's got an unbelievable shot. And now like Val has been so good for the Avs, and he got that confidence in playing, they move him where they need like a spark. They move him with McKinnon because they want McKinnon to get going, or they move him with, now it's Middlestat because they want Middlestat to get going. Like he was kind of Jared Bednar's like security blanket a little bit in the sense like you could put him on the penalty kill. He's going to be on the power play or net front. and like you can put him anywhere and he's gonna just skate and hound pucks. So it was a huge loss. And you could see like the Avs came out really flat in the first period.
Oh,
Jared
absolutely.
Bednar said like it's not an excuse to you, like you can't use that as an excuse. But like, listen, everybody in the building knew it. We heard about it like 5 minutes before we went on the air for pregame.
Oh, damn.
And so yeah, like it was. I mean, all of a sudden, like I'm getting texts from guys that I know that that are working in TV on the East Coast, and they're like, hey, are you hearing anything about Val? And all of a sudden I'm like, oh no, what's going on?
God.
So then I send out, a blanket text like, hey, what's going on? And then all of a sudden you get this trickle in, and it's like statement will be coming in 5 minutes or whatever, 10 minutes. And all of a sudden there's the statement and you're like, oh no. So first and foremost, like you feel for Val because he's definitely going through something, right? I think you'd be hard pressed to find somebody that doesn't know someone that's dealing with addiction in one way, shape, or form, right? And I don't know what addiction he's dealing with or what what transpired in terms like for the suspension, but you hope that he finds peace. And Jared Bednar talked about it in his post game presser, like we play a game for a living, and it's not life and death. Even though we make it seem like life and death during these games, and like you have to respect the human element. And so for me, you hope that he gets the help he needs, that his family, like everything. And I don't know what the future holds for Val in terms of a 6-month suspension, and that, I mean, now it's 3 times in a year, right? Like when you look at last year's playoffs. He entered the program in January again, and then now he's suspended for 6 months. I think there's a lot of questions. I think there's a lot more questions than answers at this point.
Definitely.
But it was a huge blow to the Avs. You could tell mentally, and like that mental fatigue. You're battling against Dallas, but now all of a sudden you're battling against where your lineup is, right? And and like it's a lot. It's hard enough to win against a really good team, but winning without when you factor in the Val thing, but then Devon Toews gets sick after morning skate and can't play, right? Like, there's a lot of things that didn't line up for Game 4, and it showed. They had 2 shots in the first period. They didn't look dangerous. Georgiev played out of his mind. It could have been 5-0 in the first period. It was only 1-0.
Yeah.
Right. And so to me, it was like a huge combination of factors. It's going to be tough for them to come back. But you have Nathan MacKinnon, you have Cale Makar. Yeah, Dallas has had a good game plan on those guys. Like they haven't. I don't remember more than 2 odd man rushes thus far this series after Game 1.
Agreed.
It's been a guy high. They've always had back pressure. Their D aren't making mistakes. I counted 2 legit passes out of their zone in the first period last game. It was all flips. It was all up the boards. I mean, those are passes, but just up the boards. Yeah. Everything was very, very conservative. And that game plan is working because it doesn't give the Avs a chance to counter, to capitalize on turnovers. And I mean, you tip your cap because that team, not only are they deep, but they've got great goaltending, great defense. They're deep at forward. And they've got a game plan. Like Steve Spott, I had him with the Marlies, and he's a tremendous coach. He's the assistant coach. And obviously DeBoer has had a ton of success in the NHL. And like they're buying in and they're executing it to near perfection at this point.
Yeah, we said last episode, Steve and DeBoer are both they are making in-game and between-game adjustments, maybe like they weren't last year. And it's showing. Like the success is clearly showing. So you're spot on there. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. It's like frustrating to watch, but it's impressive to watch too, because Colorado, like Winnipeg didn't have the answers for it. But Dallas has, and you can factor in a few other things in terms of like the Val situation or like whatever. I mean, like they've figured out a way, but yeah, Colorado just hasn't had the answer, and there's frustration. Like I did a radio interview earlier this morning, and there's frustration. Like Nathan MacKinnon wears his heart on his sleeve, and like you can see he's visibly frustrated. And like you hope that you get angry Nate, because when angry Nate comes out, that's like the freak. Like he'll run you over. And have no issues with it. And so like I kind of, you're looking for angry Nate to come out, like that frustration, like channel it. And that's, it's not an easy thing to do, like channeling frustration into like constructive anger that makes you better. But if anybody can do it, it'd be a guy like Nathan McKinnon.
That's so true. So true. All right, Johnny, we're with all our guests. It's called Pass, Shoot, Score. So basically, this game is we're going to give you 3 things that we know are either special to you or important to you, and you got to rank them. Pass, shoot, score. Pass is going to be your third favorite because passing's nice, but we're trying to get on the score sheet here. Shooting is second, and then obviously score is number 1.
All
right, you ready to go?
Ready.
Here's your first one. Category is going to be outdoor activities. So pass, shoot, score. Skiing at Vail, golfing at Cordillera, or off-roading your mom's Jeep Wrangler that you used to steal all the time.
Oh man. Let's see. I'm gonna go off-roading pass.
Because you feel bad for
for Grand Theft Auto.
I used to beat it up pretty good. Off-roading pass, skiing at Vail, shoot, golfing at Cordillera, score. Golf's my number 1.
Is Cordillera like that's your home? Like that's your favorite club or the favorite course of all time?
No, I mean, not my favorite of all time, but that's the course we belong here in Vail. It's got 3 courses, so it's kind of cool. There's one up on top of the mountain, there's one halfway up, and there's one down in the valley. So it's like 3 different styles. And so it's like, for me, like you have 3 different courses. You're never fighting for a tee time. You can always kind of change it up. Like for me, like I've been to Ireland twice now. And like Royal County Down or like Royal Portrush. Those are like my dream courses. They're unbelievable, right? And like the guys I went over there with, like the first time it was we had 16 guys and it was all NHL guys. So it was like Zetterberg, Horkoff, Cleary, Whitney. Like it was like 16's a lot, and it's a lot of logistics. But then last year, August, we did 8 guys and we did Ireland, and it was super cool. Definitely a lot more chill, but like Joe and Timu and those guys, it was like Ireland, Irish golf is kind of my thing. I love that.
Love that.
Yeah, that's very cool. Okay, your next category is movies and TV. Okay. Pass, shoot, score. Wedding Crashers, The Office, Bull Durham.
Oh my God, that's not. I mean, you gotta. I would score all 3.
I know.
But if I had to, I mean, I've watched The Office probably 15 times, like cover to cover.
Yep.
Same.
Like it's up there. Like Always Sunny in Philadelphia is probably like those 2 are like my 2 favorites.
Wow, dude, great pick,
Johnny. Yes, that show.
It's best show. Yeah,
it's
awesome.
insane, and it's like still just as funny in season 16. It doesn't make any sense.
It's so good. It's so good. I'm gonna go Wedding Crashers pass, even though it's unbelievable.
Dagger.
I love it. Yeah, I know. I'm gonna go Office shoot and Bull Durham score.
Wow.
Bull Durham to me is like classic,
dude.
Right?
Dude.
Like it is classic.
It's unbelievable.
Like it's my top 5 movies of all time.
Yep.
And like when we travel, I have like 6 movies on my phone at all time, and Bull Durham never leaves my phone.
Correct.
Good.
Possibly the best sports movie ever made.
Johnny, I think the cocksucker scene with the ump is maybe the hardest I've ever laughed in my entire life.
It's so good, and like just the lines, like the one-liners throughout that movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like it's just you like they're so good, they're classic. They never get old.
Yeah, never. Truly.
We and the boys, every time one of our teams sucks, you know the scene when they're in the shower and he's like, Larry, get in here, and he's screaming at him. He's like, what's our record? And he's like 8-16, and he's like 8-16. Yeah. How did we ever win 8?
How did we ever win 8?
I'll try and throw in like a lollygaggers every now and again on our broadcast. I'll be like, you know what that makes them? Lollygaggers. And like our group, like because the guys are so just like funny and like that's how we operate, is we just kind of, it's like these like tongue in cheeks all the time.
Oh God, it's just so good. We're dealing with a lot of shit.
Yeah.
It's so good. Okay, your next one, Johnny, is athletes annoying you. So we're going to do this in reverse. It's going to be pass is going to be the one that least annoys you. Score will be the one that most annoys you. All right, so the 3 are When Aaron Rodgers stole your wine cave vibe. When Peyton Manning would lose to Tom Brady.
Oh.
Or when Joe Sakic would say it was you who was forcing him to watch American Idol, when in reality, we all know it was him that wanted to watch American Idol.
It was 100% him.
Yeah.
That was like the one non-negotiable. He let me have the remote except when American Idol was on. So it was all right. So what's the least annoying?
Pass.
Pass.
Pass. All right, Sakic pass.
Okay.
Because it was a cool story for the boys back home.
Yeah, it's a cool story. Shoot Aaron Rodgers at the wine cave, and then score Manning losing to Tom Brady so much.
Yeah. But he got you one, dude. He got the Colts one eventually.
That's true. He did.
And you beat Tom on the way.
He did. That 06, the game in Indianapolis, I had broke my foot that year, and it was All-Star break. And,
oh, my God.
I flew back to Indianapolis for that, and I was like 10 rows up when they ran that touchdown in to take the lead.
No way.
And, like, that was still one of the loudest buildings I've ever heard. The only other one I could probably even compare it to was Game 2 of the final against Tampa when the Avs won 7-0. We were doing broadcast in the main entrance of Ball Arena in the Grand Atrium. And we have our IFBs in, and Rycroft and Keefe are standing next to me.
Yeah.
And I could not hear them in my ears. It was so loud, people going out, and I had to read their lips for questions and what we were talking. Like, it was,
Damn.
I've never, ever heard a place like, it was insane how loud it was.
That is so sick.
Yeah,
God.
seriously.
All right, last one, Johnny. This category is called the finer things. Okay. Pass, shoot, score. Your favorite bottle of Screaming Eagle. The bottles of Pappy Van Winkle the Bruins gave you when you retired. Or the 69 Chevy Camaro with yellow with black stripes that you got when you signed your first big ticket.
Oh, yeah. All right. Pass on the 69 Camaro.
Come on, Johnny.
John, come on.
Yeah, I know. So I sold it.
I know.
So the only reason I say that is I built it because Rob Blake had the 69 Camaro when I first came to the league, and I was like, if I ever sign like a big deal or like a 4-year deal, I'm going to build one of those. And so I built it, and it was an absolute money pit. It was like every month it was like something going wrong. And I was just like, you know what? Like when I retired, I sold that. And just, whatever. I loved it. It was amazing. It was great for what it was.
It was a beautiful time.
Yes,
exactly.
It was a beautiful time.
Yeah.
I had a 1-year-old kid that I wasn't going to put in that, the lap belt in the backseat of the Camaro. So we did sell it. So pass on that, but strictly because it was a little bit of a money pit at the end.
Yeah.
Screaming Eagle versus Pappy.
Yeah.
You can see this one that's still full here, right there.
Yep.
That one is so the Bruins got me 2 bottles. That one is a 15, and then I got another 15. I opened the other 15. The Bruins one I'll never open.
Okay.
Love that.
For a long, long time. Maybe my oldest turns 21 or something, and she'll
cool.
hate bourbon.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're going to throw up immediately.
I would say I'm going to go shoot on the Screaming Eagle. I love it.
Okay.
But the bourbon to me, it's I don't know, it's just like I love good bourbon. And my people always ask, the wine cave's not very big. I can't put my arms out straight.
Yeah.
Don't say that.
Yeah.
I want to live big. I want to live in the world.
I assume it goes 30 yards both directions. Yeah.
You're gonna fit a rink in there.
Yeah, I know. That's what everybody's like. We want to come hang out in the wine cave. So there's been 2 guests in the wine cave, or 3 guests. My 2 daughters have come on in the wine cave.
Nice.
And they've been on with me. And then I had Ryan Miller over Christmas. He was here skiing with his family, and they stayed with us. And he was a guest in the wine cave and was doing the broadcast with me, which was really, really cool.
Sick.
But the bourbon to me is like the stuff. I love good bourbon, and that Pappy, is it worth that amount of money? It probably isn't, because there's a ton of good bourbon there. But for me, it's just a good bourbon signifies so much. And when the Avs win, if I'm in the wine cave, I drink bourbon. So there's that kind of tie-in. But what I will say is it's not very big, but the entire floor here is all bourbon bottles.
Oh,
so
really?
What you see here is only a fraction of what's actually in the wine cave. like I've got the wine here. There's wine behind me on the floor, but this entire thing, like I've got probably 50 other bottles of bourbon,
yeah,
and I just rotate. So like depending on what I feel like drinking, I rotate bottles, and then like I have it there for me in the post game.
Incredible.
There you go.
Yeah,
It's a
incredible.
perfect answer. All right, Johnny, we've taken up enough of your time. This has been a fucking blast. Can't thank you enough for coming on.
Thank you, guys.
Before we let you go, is there anything you want to shout out? Anything you want to plug?
Man, not really. I mean, it's if you can see altitude,
Yep.
watch us, because we've got a great broadcast. Kyle Keefe is the host. He's been with the Avs organization for like 27, 28 years. He's amazing. Like, he makes my job so easy. He makes Riker's job so easy. He makes Mitchie's job like he's the engine.
Yeah.
And like so our broadcast, like, we have fun with it, and like that's the main thing for us is we love when people tell us that they have so much fun watching us. And unfortunately, like we haven't been on Comcast for like 4 years or whatever, 5 years now. So half our viewership isn't there, unfortunately. Hopefully that gets resolved. And but yeah, watch us on altitude. We'll try and make you laugh pretty hard.
And you do every time. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
seriously, I agree.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Well, this has been a blast, and we'll have to have you on again soon.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. It was a really fun time.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, man.
We got to talk about BetMGM. I love money. Do you love money? You must if you're on BetMGM. So I got a great deal for you right now, okay? If you make a bet that's $5 up to $1,500, it doesn't matter if you win or lose. What does that mean, CP? I'll tell you what it means. If you win, take your money, take it on down the road, put it into a new investment, and then there'll be a new investment and a new investment. But if you lose, they take the money that you lost and they put it back into your account. How sick is that deal? All you have to do is use promo code NETTERS. That's NETTERS. And go love some money with me. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY for New York. Call 1-800-327-5050 for Massachusetts. 21 plus only. Please gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP for Arizona. Call 1-800-BETS-OFF for Iowa. 1-800-981-0023 for Puerto Rico. Or visit www.1800gambler.net for West Virginia. First bet offer for new customers only. Subject to eligibility requirements. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. See BetMGM.com for terms. U.S. promotional offers not available in New York, Nevada, North Carolina, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Massive, massive thanks to JM.
Friend for life, dude.
Dude, truly, we were texting him. We were joking because we recorded with him. You'll be able to listen to this Friday. We recorded with him Wednesday, and the Avs were going to play that night. And so we were joking like, man, dude, I hope we didn't get you right before the Avs go out. And then after the game, we were all texting each other like, let's go, baby. We're still playing.
But the wine cave, he's got to stay in the wine cave.
He's got to stay in the wine cave.
He's got to
stay in the wine cave.
That's where they get wins.
No choice. No choice.
So massive thanks to Johnny. You're the fucking best, dude. Okay, let's get into some Armchair GM.
Yep. And we've got the same one this week.
We do.
We've got the same one this week, and it's...
Touched on it a bit earlier.
Yep. The Edmonton Oilers power play is a machine. And it was last year, and I remember joking with the Kings, and who did the Oilers get knocked out by last year? Vegas.
Yeah.
And I remember saying, just don't take penalties. Be disciplined. Biz, when the Canes won Game 5, he was like, Biz did his video where he's like, it's happening. Mm-hmm. And he was like, if Rod keeps the boys disciplined, 5-on-5, the Canes are better than the Rex. And you just said at the top of this app, same thing about in Vancouver. If Hawk can keep the boys disciplined, 5-on-5, you're better than the Oilers. So it's easy to be like, stop taking penalties. But those guys are fast. They're dangerous. Sticks get loose. Sticks get in skates. But once you go on the PK, I don't know how many times we have to watch.
Yes, dude. I don't want to interrupt you. So finish.
If this is the net, Leon Draisaitl, the left shot, stands right here. And Connor McDavid gets a puck from the same corner and starts wheeling to the front of the net, using his speed. And he pulls all the defenders over here. And he gets so far that they go, there's no way he's possibly passing it back to Leon. If he was at the top, maybe. But he's all the way over here. And then literally every time, Connor McDavid on his forehand wraps that puck almost all the way around his body, no look, because he knows where Leon is, like this. And then Leon stands there and fires a tough angle one-timer into the net.
Yep. Leon has an office now.
Yep.
It's we talk about Ovi's office, we talk about Pasta's office, Stammer's office. Leon has an office.
We needed one on the other side. That office on that side's getting crowded. We need someone over here.
Leon is set up over on that right hash wall, and he's just mashing pucks in the net. Or sometimes he's getting it and throwing it back across the crease. But yeah, I think that our armchair GM is talk Canucks. You got to take that away. When Connor wheels, I would almost tell Shilovs, like, you've got the shot, dude. If he wheels, because the fear is his speed gets that separation. He's got a free look coming down Main Street, but he's not coming down Main Street.
Exactly,
he's coming across it. And Connor's shot is great, but it's not I'm not
Backdoor one-timer.
And I'm also not, yeah, I'm also not looking at like a fucking pasta rip here. Like, I would trust Shilovs on that slot shot on the peeper rather than having both your players panic and pull, cover, leave Leon nude.
Dan,
for a backdoor shot.
Everybody always says, like, why don't they just put someone on Ovi? Like, I'm not pitching because 4-on-3 is better than 5-on-4, and it's just stupid. I'm not pitching put someone on Leon.
Yeah.
I'm pitching fucking stop overcommitting.
Yes.
I'd literally let Connor shoot that. Let him wheel, because he goes so far around.
Yeah.
Let him wheel, get some bodies in front of him. But wouldn't you so much rather die on Connor nipping you from there over and over than giving up that pass?
Another backdoor Leon. Yes,
It's
I would.
so insane, dude. Make a fucking adjustment. And it's like, I don't know. They're not idiots. Rick Tocchet is a much smarter hockey mind than me. The Canucks are watching film. Like, they know what's happening. I'm not breaking news to them right now.
And,
But-
and to be clear, again, we're like let's just reiterate, the Oilers power play is amazing.
Yep.
We're not saying this is going to solve everything, but that is clearly a problem for the Canucks, and it's clearly something that's working for the Oilers. So let's
get beat a different way. Get beat a different way by that power play than giving up that pass, because it's every time. And he gets so far around that they go, well, he's not passing it. And then it's like this. It's not it's like all the way hooked around. Yeah.
Wrap the wrists, tuck it back.
Need an adjustment.
You got to just
from my
watch
PK
it.
boys.
Watch out for it.
Yep.
You can't let it go anymore. And it's that when you do go on the PK, you got to know that is there and figure out a discussion, whether it's the boys talking on the ice, maybe a different setup, but I don't even think you need that, to just be aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
But then also, to what you said earlier, find a way to stay out of the box.
Yep.
Stupid penalties in games 1 and 2. And then game 3 was like, oh, not a lot of stupid penalties and a big win.
Yeah.
Stay out of the box and you're going to have success against this team.
Absolutely.
No question about it. You want to go into God?
Yeah. I think I do.
God, I wish I was Wyatt Johnston.
Yeah.
I love this kid. I say that so much. I love everyone in the league.
Yep.
It's the best league in the world.
How old is he?
I think he just turned 21.
I think he's.
Did he just turn
no,
21
I think
or
you're right.
22?
I'll check. I think
I think he just turned 21.
I think he's 21, dude. Which is moronic.
So this guy, I'm going to pull up his stats while you do that. Wyatt Johnston is just making a name for himself
21.
in such a big way. And you love to see it, because this team we've talked about a lot is going through a torch passing.
Mm-hmm.
They did it last year. Sagan, Ben, Suter, Pav, they've kind of passed the torch to very, very, like, emphatically to Miro, Robo, Hintz. And Wyatt has joined in this bunch of the next wave, and he's now like the youngest. Like, Stank is in there too.
Yeah.
But like, Wyatt is just a machine. And in 11 games, these playoffs, he has 7 goals and 4 assists.
Yeah. 12 games, right?
Is it 12 now?
12. Yeah. 11 and 12. Yeah.
So he is just so dominant out there. And what I love about it is he's scoring major goals. He's getting on the score sheet all the time, but he's also a focal point. If you watch their power play,
Yeah, Dan.
they're
Great point.
They're feeding him the puck. When they were down 4-3 last night against Colorado, bless you, fucking seizure. When they were down 4-3 against Colorado, they were like, get Wyatt the puck.
Yep.
So he has established himself as a dominant player in these playoffs, a dominant player on that team, and a centrifugal key factor on that lineup. And you love to see it. And now he's 21.
Yeah.
And he's gassing beers at the bar.
Wow.
He's never been to a bar before.
This is his first
Confirmed.
beer.
He's never drank before.
His first beer.
And he is
When's his
just-
birthday? Like, I think he just turned
He literally,
21.
I think it was like 3 days ago.
Yeah.
He is playing so well. He is turning heads. Obviously, people in Dallas know all about him, but now people in the league are. Dallas has put the entire league and all these fan bases on notice, going, "Hey, we're a fucking big team too. We're a contender."
Yep.
And Wyatt is going, "Also pay attention to me."
Yep.
And now he's also drinking beers in the bar.
Dude,
He's drinking LABATT Blue Lights in the bar.
The pretty female bartenders in Dallas are going to have a field day with our boy Wyatt coming in there.
Go on.
He's going to walk in there, slap his ID down. They're going to say, "Sir, this is a 21 plus establishment." He's going to slap his ID down. They're going to find out he just had his birthday 2 days ago. And then he's going to tell him he's a PPG guy in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah.
On the way to a cup run.
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to go drinks on the house. And then he's going to get drunk legally and responsibly.
Legally.
And then he's going to go, man, I drove here, but I'm certainly not going to drive home because I'm legally and responsibly drunk. And then the bartender's going to go,
I'll drive you home.
Well, I get off in 10 minutes if you want to ride. God, I wish I was Wyatt Johnston.
He's got a great life right now.
All right, my turn. God, I wish I was Jeremy Swayman.
Oh, geez.
And I'll tell you why, Dan. 2 days ago.
Because you get to be friends with us.
Yeah. Actually, dude, I'm just realizing this. May 14th is Wyatt Johnston's birthday. Do you know who else has that birthday? This is sick that we just did this.
Who?
This wasn't even on purpose. Papa Ken Swayman.
Yes, sir.
And his son flew to Florida and went full sway god on the Panthers and got a win for his dad so he could bring the series back home to Boston so his dad can watch Game 6 in person. And he's the best goalie in the playoffs, and he's about to get the fattest 8-year deal these eyes have ever seen, and he deserves every penny. In fact, whatever they give him, they should double it. Triple it, and give him that. And he's established himself. Dude, walking into these playoffs, there was all the tandem talk, and he wants the job, and he wants the net, and I love Linus Ullmark, and Linus Ullmark will get traded this summer, and he has a fan in me for the rest of his career and life. I love him, and I hope he wins a cup wherever he goes. I mean that to the utmost mark. Jeremy Swayman came into these playoffs and not only won the job against his buddy and a very good goalie in Linus Ullmark, but he walked into a playoffs filled with Jake Ottinger and Igor Shesterkin and Sergei Bobrovsky and is outplaying Sorokin and is outplaying all of them. And Shesty has been awesome. Otter's right there with him, I would say. But those guys have been really good. But Jeremy Swayman is putting a team on his back. The Bees would be long out. They would have lost to the Leafs if not for this kid.
Oh, yeah.
And to do that in a year when you're about to you want that job. You want the A job. You want the big ticket. You want to prove you're the starter in Boston for the future of the club. To do that in this playoffs. I'd like your take on this. I still think the Bees probably would have gone with him no matter what. But let's say this playoffs go like this. Swayman starts game 1, L to the Leafs. Ullmark game 2, win to the Leafs. Swayman game 3, L to the Leafs. Ullmark rest of the way. Bees beat the Leafs. Bees give the Panthers a good run. Ullmark. I still think management looking towards the future gives Sway the job.
Definitely.
But just what a fuck, man. That was kind of that was going to be my moment. To come out and do this in the playoffs and do that on your dad's birthday.
Happy birthday, Ken Bone, first of all.
Yep.
Yeah, man, he's just, I can't say enough good things about him. I cannot. And the way he has taken that job with such grace and maturity, and the way he's done it to leave zero questions that it is his net and he's earned it is just, it's inspiring, honestly. So to see him just buzzing, saying all the right things, doing all the right things, what a fucking sick puppy, dude.
Can we, on 3, look at the wide shot and say happy birthday, Ken?
Yes.
Ready?
Yep.
1, 2, 3.
Happy
birthday, Ken. We love you, buddy.
You're the best. Yeah, that's a great one.
God, I wish I was Jeremy Swayman.
Oh my gosh, seriously, tell me about it.
Dan, take us into our temper tantrum for the week. And if you want, I'll tee it up because I know this is bothering me more than it's bothering you. This one's less of a temper tantrum and more of a what's going on?
What's going on? Yeah.
Yeah, let's change the segment this week to what's going on?
Yeah, it's temper tantrum. What's going on? Why can't teams win at home?
Let me read you these stats, dude, because this makes no sense to me. The Bees-Panthers series, the road team has won 4 of the 5 games. The Avs-Stars series, the road team has won 4 of the 5 games. Oilers-Nucks, 2 of the 4. Rags-Canes, 2 of the 5. The road team is 12-7 in the second round. What's going on? And
What's
listen,
going on?
I love that the home ice isn't as impactful as home court in the NBA, home field in football. I would say home field in baseball too, because all the parks are different. I think you just know your park or whatever. Yep. I love that, especially come playoff time, because it's like it's cool. It's like it's not like it's just how often do you see in the NBA like 2 wins, 1 win. It's like all right, this is kind of stupid. I like that it's really any game, anything can happen. But dude, I'm not even kidding with this. Do it for the fans. Like if the Bees lose Game 6, and I'm like the Boston fans went to 3 home games in this round and fucking got dusted in a 3.
Some of your friends and family are there.
Dude, you gotta protect home ice.
Get up for the fans, guys.
It's blowing my mind. And we say all the time, some guys like the road because there's no distractions. But there's not, not have the wife, the kids, whatever. But some guys like home because it's routine. It's your bed. It's home cooking. You do the same shit. You know the drive in. You're not on a bus. So to each their own. But I'm like, boys, win a fucking home game. This is unacceptable.
Dude, it's like we need more home game wins.
Yeah.
We do. It's crazy.
I love a good road steal. That's fun. It makes the series exciting. Yeah. And honestly, Nucks Oilers is going, it's fun right now. It's a split. Yeah. And I'm like, if Canucks win Game 5 at home, Oilers win Game 6 at home, I'm really happy. And we go to Game 7 and we see what happens. Good job. Hey, thank you so much. But dude, Bruins, Panthers, Rags, Avs, Stars.
What's going on?
Figure it the fuck out, dude. Win a home game.
Crazy. All right, we've got an emergency saucy prediction.
Oh, yes. Great memory.
Shout out our boy Nick. Last episode, I did my saucy prediction, and it included a Val goal. But hour before the game, Val not playing.
Yep.
So Nick gave me the opportunity to get a new saucy prediction. Do you accept?
Oh, absolutely, dude. Because otherwise you were going to fucking pull some bullshit that you were like, I don't have to eat a wing because he didn't play. I know you were going to do that.
When have I ever done that?
I know you were going to do that.
This is horseshit. Erroneous. My new saucy prediction is that we will only get 1 Game 7.
So either way, you're wrong. If it's 0 or if it's 2 or 3. Yeah, so okay. I accept.
I feel like I need to make it pretty saucy.
Yep, I accept. I think, yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair. I accept.
We will only get 1 Game 7.
Done.
Actually, I don't like that prediction. I don't want that to happen.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
then
maybe that's what I'm doing.
Say we'll get 3. Make it we'll get 3. And will it into existence.
Well, no, because I don't want to be right.
But you'll probably be wrong, so you'll have to eat, and it will be more fun. But also, if we get it, then I get to eat 2, so fuck me, and that will be sick for hockey. We'll get 3 Game 7s. Do it. Do it.
All right, saucy prediction. We will get 3.
Actually, make it 4.
Saucy prediction. Every single series is going.
Have you seen The Gentleman? 4.
4.
Okay, 4 Game 7s.
That's it. With that is it for us on this episode of the Empty Netters podcast. We've got electricity going on. Apparently, we've got
4 Game 7s coming up.
Unbelievable stuff. And until we see you next time,
have a great weekend and skate hard.